Get 'em, Jimmy, where low shack at? The bottle's getting empty up the crack and we stacking chips. All of it's what I want. Plus money winners, that's what I'm on. You can say I'm gone. I prefer elevated public sports radio. Time to get educated, get produced. Leave the juice, letting loose with so much abuse that the bookies wanna call it truth. They get slaughtered. Can't forget Jeff and low baggers in the chat. That's a lethal weapon 'cause we be pubbing.
What up, cappers, gamblers, punters, hustlers, low baggers? Happy Wednesday, November 16th to all of you. Thank you for watching Betting with the Bag right here on Pub Sports Radio. Nice to be back in action with you guys. We had a very good Wednesday, Thursday, Friday last week. I messed it up on Sunday, but we're running real nice here on the show. We have a packed show for you. I'm very excited. We have LJ from H-Town making his second appearance to break down the NBA card. We have DJ Big Boss making his triumphant return. He was in the hospital. He's back in action. He's on the mend. He's going to be with us today and tomorrow. Excited to have DJ Big Boss rolling with us, healthy and ready to rock. He'll be back on Saturday NCAA Football Pub Hub this week. Then we have Daby Cab. We've picked out 8 games in NCAA basketball that we are going to attack. It's going to be a great show, man. We have everything covered. NHL, NBA, NCAA football, and NCAA basketball. And we're coming off of a really strong Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And I'll be back with Low Shack on Tuesdays, probably in about a month and a half. You know, like right, it's probably around when we start playoffs in NFL. I'll be back rolling with our Pistol Pete Low Shack. Shout out to all the cappers joining us in the chat. I'm excited to be here. I'm pumped up. Travis Duarte ready to go. Spenny Penny Bombs, yes. Teoscar Hernandez traded to Seattle. That was a shock. Jose told me that this morning, and I'm nervous. There's Fat Wally in the house, Ryan Mueller, Danny Lopez, Rocco Rogers, Clint Star, the Die Hard MMA podcast. We got Jay Peasy for Sheezy. God, I didn't see it. I get so caught up with my own capping. I didn't see if Jay Peasy put out a video this morning. Got caught up with my own bullshit. Okay, not this morning. Okay, I need to tweet out when JPZ delivers the goods, and I mean to every time you do. I love when you put those videos out. Sweaty Butcher, Slatsy 5-2 in NHL last night, looking at the Blues under and the Sens money line so far. I'm ready to rock. I'm ready to cap NHL with you guys. We're going to start with NHL, then roll into NBA. Sammy Calmer, RVD 420, top set. Eddie Euler in the house says, I'm not sure if you are aware of the stat, but all of the Dallas Stars 9 wins have been by 2 or more goals. Well, if we thought Robertson, Hintz, and Pavelski looked good last year, this year they look even better. They're just phenomenal offensive talents. Pavelski with the accountability and just, he's a leader. And then you have these 2 snipers. It's a special line. Special line. All right. Top Set said ran into Jorge Masvidal and Covington, 2 different casinos in 1 hour. Nice. That is a good sign. We crushed college football last week. Swept the board. Now 30-14 plus 14.8 units. NBA, we got back a little bit. We got back 2.9 units on the week. So we started the week in rough, horrible shape, down 11.3 units. We're now down 8.4. We're going to get to double-digit positive units just like we do every year. We're going to get to double-digit positive units. Got to stay focused. We opened up our NCAA basketball account on Friday. We went 2-1. And we didn't move on 2 bets that you guys were all over. We didn't move on Wake. Wake is 6.5. It ended up being 7.5-point favorites when I could bet it, and I let it go, but they went easily. And shout out to Fat who gave it to us right off the start of the show. And we didn't move on. I didn't move on West Virginia. So it should have been, really could have been a 4-1 day, but a 2-1 day. And then in NHL, we're not where we want to be. 17-21 down 3.62 units, but a lot of time left. All right. Let's get to Spenny. And Raimel Tapia, we just DFA'd. Designated for assignment. Oh, God. Rodney Barton, is a pleasure seeing you today. Jedi for Life in the house. Maybe puck lines with Dallas moving forward. No doubt about it. Well, let's get right to work. We're going to open up with NHL. We're just going to cap it you and I. For every other sport, we are going to have a guest. We start at 7 p.m. Eastern. Buffalo Sabres 7-9-0, 3-3-0 on the road. Ottawa Senators 5-9-1, 4-5-0 at home. Canadian Tire Center at Ottawa, Ontario. And a special shout out to our producer, Jose Bouquet. He drove his father to the airport at 4 in the morning. At 4 in the morning, but you think he's prepared, ready, sent out all the invitations, done the graphics, done all the stats? Of course he has. That's the kind of man he is. Eric Comrie has been very bad this year, going up against Anton Forsberg. I know Comrie had a decent first game or two, but I listen to Buffalo radio, and they say that Comrie was the third best goalie in training camp, and he's clearly the second best goalie so far in the NHL, but he's been given the minutes as a number one, and they're not happy. The Buffalo Sabres fans are nonplussed. Comrie 4-6-0, 3.62 goals against average, 885 save percentage. Anton Forsberg, not very good either, but pretty easy to blame the defense in front of him. 3-6-1, 3.60 goals against average, 899 save percentage. There's Alec in the house from Better's Bet. He'll be making his debut on Sunday, NFL Pub Hub here. Dan Kelly says he's been crushing NBA last few days. I can't wait to attack it with you. And we're going to have LJ with us too. It's going to be very enjoyable. Slatsy said watch the entire Habs Devils game. Jersey has something going on, and it's so fun to watch. Dan Kelly's going to go look up nonplussed. If you look it up, you're going to use it nonstop. It's one of those terms that just sticks with you. And then you wonder why people don't say plussed, but they don't. They say nonplussed. Eddie Willer says Buffalo's lost 6 straight. Ottawa's lost 8 of 9. Buffalo power play at 23.7%. Penalty killing at 71.4%. Ottawa power play at 23.2%. Penalty killing at 76.8%. Let's move on to the odds here in this one. We have Ottawa opening up minus 148. They're now minus 160. From a totals perspective, it opened up at 6.5, and now we see a 7 on the board. It still really is a 6.5. Let's see what it is about. It's still at Bet365. It's still a 6.5 plus 110 to the under. I have some thoughts about all of that. We'll talk about them here in a second. Let's take a look at where the cash lies in this one. We have full line value being given to the Buffalo Sabres, losers of 6 straight. Just 1,841 tickets in, 37% of tickets, 92% of cash on Buffalo. Then you have 80% of tickets and 98% of cash on the over. I will, Dan. I will, Fat Wally. Those are some nice Fat Liver and nice names from the past, but Alex English, he was a beast. Doesn't get enough respect. Does not get enough respect. Okay, let's break this down. Yeah, we're not happy, Rodney. We are non-plus, as we said earlier. Spenny Pennybomb went 4-0 in the NHL and 1-5 last night. Yeah, it keeps you humbled. Kachuk shots on goal versus Sabres last 5 games, 5-7, 12, 2-5. He's been spectacular, but let's start with Buffalo. Buffalo's on the second half of a back-to-back after losing their 6th straight game last night, 5-4 at home to the Canucks. They just finished up a winless 4-game homestand, and the fans are not happy. Comrie's struggling. He does not look good. Tage Thompson. Jesus. God, now it's in my head. Fucking blame Luke. Tage Thompson has been excellent. 11 goals, 10 assists, 21 points, plus 1. The rest of the forward group has been good enough. Skinner, Tuck had a bad start, but he's been quite much better. Cousins, Olofsson, Middlestad, Okposo's injured right now, but he's been fine. Rasmus Dahlin has been great. 7 goals, 11 assists, 18 points, plus 10. He plays 26-23 game. Owen Power has been strong for a teenager. Number 1 overall pick. 8 assists, plus 4, 23-48. So why have they lost 6 straight? You can pin it on Comrie. They're getting weak goaltending. And they're also another team that has a diminutive defenseman out there playing big minutes. Jacob Bryson, the 4th-round pick in the 2017 draft, 5'9", 176-pound defenseman. He can't clear the front of the net. He's got great outlet passes. He's a smooth skater, but he's a minus 11, and he's playing 18 minutes and 46 seconds a game. They just don't have defensive depth since Matthias Samuelsson got hurt early in the year. Matthias Samuelsson played 5 games. He was a +6, and Matthias Samuelsson was playing 19 minutes and 35 seconds a game. So after Dahlin and Power, they don't have it defensively. They don't have toughness. They can't clear the front of the net. They don't have defensive responsibility. And the forwards, I mean, if you look at Skinner and others, you could say, well, they're not responsible defensively, and you'd be right. So that's what's going on with Buffalo. The Senators have won once over their past 9 games. They come in off a 4-2 loss at home to the Islanders on Monday night. The struggle started as soon as they lost second-line center Josh Norris. Sammy Comer says 5-3 type game. I agree, but man, I'm telling you, I feel like this Senators team, I mean, both defenses are so weak, but now you lose Shabbat, who's dealing with a concussion for the Senators. He's out of the lineup, and there's no depth on that blue line either. And who's going to play the big minutes? They've had Shane Pinto try to fill the role of the second-line center. He has 1 assist in 15 games this year, and it's unacceptable for a center. You have to be creating opportunities and putting your line mates in position to succeed, and he's never shown that ability. Look, I know Pinto is a goal scorer, a sniper, and he's probably going to have a long career, but in the USHL, at University of North Dakota, he's never been a facilitator. You have to pass first, I believe, as a centerman, but I grew up thinking that Igor Larionov he was my favorite player, and he was the best facilitator, the best pass first player. Kachuk's been a monster. Stutzla looks very good. They're perfect guys to build a team around, but this defense is very weak. Millsy comes in, says only here to laugh at the people who bet against his Kings. Eddie Euler leaning to Ottawa -1. Spenny said, and then put him on the wing. I agree. Clint says Pinto needs to keep it up for me, catch that futures bet. If it's a goal scoring prop, but if it's a point prop, it's not going to happen. You can't have 1 assist in 15 games. I mean, the NHL was built on second assists. You're not getting any of them. Thank you, Deacon, my friend. Sky Dragon says, I can already hear Atkins saying we traded 1 year of control for 8 years of control, going to puke. Yes. Eddie Euler liked Krutov better. Sure, he looked good in a Russian Red Army jersey, but he looked fat in a Canucks jersey, and that black jersey is supposed to be slimming. All right, so with all that being said, can you trust either team here? Can you even trust goals? Let's hear what Mr. Gokster has to say. Ottawa very thin on the back end with little to call up from Belleville. Sanderson first year is next guy up with Bandstrom second year. Yeah, Clint, I do not see it. I don't see it. You can't play that way, the way he's playing. Personally, I believe. I don't see it. Buffalo on a back-to-back gives Ottawa the edge. Does it? Does it? Because when a team is losing, they want to get just right back on the ice. Do we really trust the Sens here? 4-2 loss at home to the Islanders. Spenny liking first period, both teams to score. I don't. In all honesty, I find that under 6.5 at +110 appealing, but that's because I don't know if these Senators defensemen are going to pinch. I mean, who's going to be playing all these minutes? But I guess the power plays are strong enough and the penalty killing is weak enough and the goaltending is terrible. So, you know what? I think the Sabres are a better hockey team right now. I think the Sabres are a better hockey team than the Ottawa Senators. And Deacon Mike been following the totals in the NHL. Over 6 went 7-2 last night. Simply put, I think the Sabres are a better hockey team. And you know what? I can't take Ottawa with the way they've been playing. And I don't trust Comrie. Maybe the Sabres first period, but that would have to be, a plus, at least +115, +120. I could take the Sabres first period firing out after last night's game and then getting tired as the game goes on. There's DJ Big Boss back in action. He'll be joining us for college football, 3 games today. He'll also be joining us tomorrow. We're going to have the one game that we'll break down, and then we'll hear DJ Big Boss's best bets on the Saturday card. Yeah, it's Sabres or no bet. And I guess I like the Sabres early. But can you trust Comrie? Comrie's terrible. So it's a garbage game. It's a shit game. Let's move on to 7:30 p.m. Eastern. St. Louis Blues 6-8-0, 4-4-0 on the road. Chicago Blackhawks 6-6-3, 4-3-1 at home. We're at the United Center in Chicago, Illinois. Jordan Binnington, he heard the horrible things I said about him a week ago, and he's being lights out. He's being spectacular. Going up against Arvid Soderblom. Soderblom's been excellent. St. Louis power play at 21.6, penalty killing 72.4. Chicago power play at 21.7, penalty killing at 75.9%. Let's go over to the line history here. The problem here is, like anybody, I think St. Louis is playing good hockey, and this is the third game of a 3-game road trip that they would love to sweep. And there's been a big move towards a -149 to -171. But there's just no value fading the Blackhawks at home, even though I'd like to badly. This total opened up at 6 as a pick'em. That's where it stands right now. Go over to the cash flow here. We have 66% line value on St. Louis, 72% of tickets, 95% of cash on St. Louis, 44% of tickets, 94% of cash on the over, but that's not concerning the books at all. Eddie Euler, in fact, on the under. Sammy, comment on the Hawks money line. So the Blues have followed up an 8-game losing streak by winning 3 straight. The last 2 have come on the road against stiff competition. They won in Vegas on Saturday night. Then they win in Colorado on Monday night. They're looking to sweep this mini 3-game road trip. They stayed out of the penalty box against Vegas. That's imperative. They needed to do it against Colorado. They didn't do that. But Binnington makes 38 saves against Vegas on Saturday. Binnington makes 45 saves against Colorado. Ryan O'Reilly's struggling so bad this year. Feels like he needs to drink and drive into a Tim Hortons and get his shit together. 3 goals, 2 assists, -12, playing 18-11 a game. By the way, Ryan O'Reilly can drink and drive, smash into a Tim Hortons, run away from his car, and nothing happens to him. If it happens to me, huge problems. Terrible, terrible problems in my life. But Ryan O'Reilly, he can just do whatever the fuck he pleases. The team is much better than their record indicates. The Blackhawks come in off a 3-0 of the Blues. The Blackhawks coming off a 3-0 loss at home versus the Hurricanes on Monday night. They've scored 4 goals over their past 4 games. This team has no scoring depth at all after Kane and Taves and will keep losing. They will keep losing. Did I say Atlanta Hawks? Jesus, what's wrong with me? Sammy Comer says in Lucan, Ontario, of all places. Slatsy Tango Riley misses prawn big time. Eddie Euler says the Blues money line is too high. Blues -1. Yes, I just don't know if there's any value ever fading Chicago. And you have to wonder, from Berube's standpoint, it's a pretty easy sell. Let's sweep this road trip. Let's come back home. But also they're going to go into United Center, which was once, sold out night after night, to a very quiet. Let's see how many people were at the United Center last out very quickly. We have 10 more minutes before we get into NBA. Drinking and driving is what killed Tim Horton. What was a car accident? Are we sure he was drunk? I don't know. Spenny says Blues have picked it up last while, but I had Blues money line against the Avs other night. Probably lay off this. Is there any value fading the Blackhawks at all this year? The answer would be no, but they're not a good hockey team. Let's just quickly, I just want to see this very, very quickly. How many people were at the last Chicago Blackhawks home game? Because if we're sitting here, if there's going to be 14,000 people, then I don't know if I want or can sit here and trust that. One thing maybe we could trust is the under, but there's all that money on the over. Not that it's concerning the books at all. Let's just go quickly to this Blackhawks squad and see how many people were at their last home hockey game. It was against the Hurricanes. They lost 3-0. And 15,676 tickets were sold. It was 80% full. Lucci in the house. Rodney Barton says Blackhawks 5th in allowing shots on goals to center. Riley Kyrou are looks for me in this game. Kyrou's -17 this year. He's absolutely atrocious. He is coming off a power play goal. Eddie Euler says Hawks are averaging 14,788 tickets sold. Eddie Euler says Blues have shut out the Blackhawks in 3 or 4 meetings at the United Center. Top Shelf says Blues about to go on a streak. They are a streaky club and always have been. But I just, you know what? The Blackhawks are 4-3-1 at home. Have they been favorites in any of those games? I mean, the answer would be no. You have the Blues coming off big wins against Vegas and Colorado. They're really going to step it up here against the Blackhawks in front of a 75% full arena. I can't do it. I can't do it. I want to do it. I can't do it. Pat Wally says even the Zamboni leaves during games at United Center. I have interest in the under. Let's just see what the total's done here. Open. It's done no movement. There was movement early to the over, but it's come back. You know, just a sleepy, low-scoring game. Would that surprise anybody? Eddie Oler talking about Seth Jones being out. Deacon Mike says Chicago too inconsistent. I think they'll score 4 tonight. They've scored 4 goals. Okay, Dan Kelly says Tim Hortons blood alcohol level was well above the legal limit. Yeah, it's you know, that's the kind of man that you want to build a donut shop around. Booze bag. Slatsy says, do you see the last 2 minutes of the Blues Avs game? 6 on 3 for the Avs. Miracle they didn't score. I know because I had over 6. Binnington stood on his head. Yeah, I think that this will be a sleepy game. Are there going to be 7 goals scored? All this money's come in on the over, but the market's not moving to the over, and the Blackhawks aren't scoring, and Binnington's playing great, and so is Soderblom. Is Soderblom confirmed? If Soderblom is confirmed, Lucci says, I agree, it feels like there's a blue streak coming, but after 2 big wins, I'm staying off. Yeah. And even like, are we even certain that Binnington is going to be in the lineup? Deacon says you could start a donut shop, call it Pigeons. Pigeons, does that appeal to anybody's taste buds? Those fucking flying rats. Mr. Gokster says small shot on no goal first 10 here. I think that's a decent look. By the way, Mr. Gokster, he'll be with us tomorrow. He swept the board on back-to-back Thursday night footballs. Back-to-back 3-0s. What a guy. I guess I need to know that Binnington and Soderblom are in. As soon as that's confirmed, Soderblom is confirmed. I need to know that Binnington is confirmed as well. Once that is confirmed, I will move on the under 6. Okay, let's move on to the final game on the board. 10 p.m. Eastern, LA Kings 10-7-1, 4-4-1 on the road at the Edmonton Oilers 9-7-0, 4-5-0 at home at Rogers Place in Edmonton, Alberta. Johnny Quick for Stuart Skinner. Skinner quietly usurping the job as number 1 netminder in Evil. Quietly taking over the job in Edmonton. And he's good. He looks good. 2.53 goals against average, 932 save percentage. Kings 20.3% power play, 74.6% penalty killing. Edmonton 32.2% power play, 70.6% penalty killing. Let's move over to the line history in Kings Oilers. Here we go. We have the Oilers opening up minus 145. They're now minus 138. They got up to minus 152. But at this point, there's been a 7-cent move back or a 5-cent move towards the Kings, 129 to 124. From a totals perspective, it opened up at 6.5, heavily juiced to the over. It still is. I don't think of this Kings team as being a heavy over squad. The Kings had their 4-game winning streak snapped in the 6-5 loss at Calgary on Monday night. Arthur Kaliev, don't look now, the second-round 2019 pick out of Uzbekistan, is a sniper. 6 goals, 7 assists, and 13 points in 17 games played, and he's tough too. And this team should be really good. I mean, Kevin Fiala was such a big addition. He's starting to heat up. 6 goals, 12 assists, 18 points in 18 games. Oilers come in off their second win in 4-2 triumph at Florida. Yamamoto and Kane out. They're missing depth pieces. So they beat Florida, and then they come all the way home. John Anastasiou says pigeonholed for your donut shop. That actually pigeonhole's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's pretty good, man. It's pretty good. Eddie Oilers said Draisaitl 11-game point streak. McDavid 10-game point streak. This is kind of a tricky spot for the Oilers. They are struggling with depth, but Hyman and Nuge are playing huge, helping Draisaitl and McDavid, who are, phenomenal. They just finished a 4-game road trip. So they win at Florida. They win at Florida. When was that? Let me just get to this, open up the full schedule. I get why the market is moving towards the Kings here. Saturday night they went at Florida and they come back and they have the Kings and then Vegas back to back. Mr. Goker says small play on the Kings first period money line. Slater says a guy named Eddie Euler telling me to take the over in the Oilers game. What could go wrong? Leaning Kings here, first game back after an Eastern road trip. Yeah, I think the Kings are live here. You know, I think they're live here. I do. There's nothing to do on these trips to Alberta, so it's not like they're out in the club on White Ave. I think the Kings are live here. I think it makes sense that the market's moving towards them. 75% of the tickets, 71% of the cash on the Oilers. You have 86% tickets, 85% cash on the over. I'm not even really sold on that over. But, I mean, do you trust Johnny Quick? Let's just see what this total is. God, I mean, I just want to attack these. But as Dennis Garcia calls it, just beer league hockey. This total Kings Oilers under 6.5 plus 120. Wow, that's appealing. So it probably hits 7. I mean, if it's hit 7, you can't. All right. Eddie Oilers says first meeting since the Oilers knocked the Kings out in the playoffs. I think the Kings are live here. I mean, it doesn't come as a surprise to me that the Oilers get their shit together and, you know, remember they lost at Carolina 7-2. This trip started with a 5-4 loss at Washington. Then they played the following night, beat Tampa and Tampa 3-2. Then they lose 7-2 in Carolina, bounce back with a 4-2 win. I just don't see this as a. They're going to be a very dangerous out for a team in the playoffs because they're not going to win the division. And I mean, we could see the Oilers and the Flames play in the first round of the playoffs. For these Kings, let's just take a quick look and then we'll put a bow on this here. I kind of like the Kings in this spot. They head to Vancouver after this game, play Seattle on Saturday. That was their first game of the road trip, 6-5. Remember, they'd won 4 straight. They'd swept their homestand. They beat Florida 5-4, Minnesota 1-0, Chicago 2-1 in overtime, Detroit 4-3. I mean, tight games. They played, 6 straight one-goal games? Slatsky, I think I would go full game here. I think that when you face the Oilers, that you should probably take if you're fading the Oilers, you should probably fade them full game. They're losing depth pieces. It's becoming more and more time on the ice for McDavid and Draisaitl. McDavid and Draisaitl obviously going to be fresh on the best ice in the league. I know that they're saying that Mullet Arena has really good ice, but I don't know about that shit, but that's what they're saying. Christopher Comentini says Kings D is so bad. Eddie Oiley looking for a goal from McDavid. All right. I think the Kings are live. And the question is plus 125 a good enough risk reward? But look, the Oilers are 4-5-0 at home. All right, I'm on the Kings at plus 125. I'm going to be on the under 6 in St. Louis, Chicago when Binnington is confirmed. If he's not confirmed, I will be off of it. And do I really want to get in the way of this garbage fire in Ottawa? Do I really want to? I don't know. I mean, I could take the Sabres first period on the second half of a back-to-back thinking they jump out. I'm getting a plus line there. And also, if this gets to 7 in Kings Oilers, I mean, I don't know how you don't try to get underneath it. That 6-5 game was it's not a normal thing for these Kings. I mean, look at 3 of their last 6 games, 3 goals have been scored, and that's including overtime. So 3 of their last 6 games, there have been 2 or less goals scored in regulation. And we're just expecting the Oilers to light it up. And the Oilers don't have enough depth to light it up. You know what? Sorry, I know we're going to move on to NBA right now, but if I was to If I was to turn this into my own 7, well, that's a minus 200 and a plus 120. It's expensive right now. Let's just see exactly what it would be. Minus 200 plus 120 is a minus 136. God, why didn't I do that? I'm going to do that. I'm going to turn this in. I mean, especially after the Kings. The Kings lose 6-5 at Calgary on Monday night. They can't play this kind of hockey, and it's not winning successful road hockey. And they got to know going up against Draisaitl and McDavid, if they play any kind of sloppiness like that, they're going to get burned. I'm going to turn this into a 7. All right, I'm locked in. I am locked in. Kings money line under 7. Then as soon as Binnington's announced, under 6. I know this goes against what we've been seeing in the NHL with all the goals being scored, and maybe this will keep blowing up in my face, but we're going to pull the trigger here. And then Sabres first period. An angry Sabres group, losers of 6 straight. Offense looks fine. Can Buffalo really hurt? Or sorry, can Ottawa really hurt you without having, and then you're getting a plus line. I think that what's the implied probability of a Sabres first period? I think it makes sense there. Rocco Rogers says Oilers speed versus Kings speed scares me for the Kings. I get it, but this is the Oilers team already with very little depth. Now you take out Yamamoto, who I'm not high on, but he's been better than I expected. You take off Yamamoto, you take out Evander Kane. Now what? All right, there we go. That's the NHL. All right, I got action, baby. So I think I'm going to pull the trigger on Sabres first period. As soon as Binnington's announced under 6, and then I'm going to be on the Kings and the under 7 in Kings Oilers. Let's move on to the National Basketball Association right now and bring on your first guest of today's show, making his second appearance here, breaking down the full NBA card. I am very excited to work with him. Please welcome to the show, coming to us from Houston, Texas, LJ from H-Town. LJ, how are you, my man?
What's going on, Jimmy, man? Glad to be here with you again, capping this NBA. So let's get to work, ready to make some money.
Let's get to work, my friend. We start at 7 p.m. Eastern with the Indiana Pacers 6-6, 2-3 on the road at the Charlotte Hornets 4-11, 1-5 at home. We're at the Spectrum Center in Charlotte, North Carolina. Pacers 3-2 over their past 5, playing at a fast pace, 103.90 possessions a game. Charlotte 1-4, playing at 96.78 possessions a game. There's our guy Mally Mal in the house. Wolves first quarter minus 1.5 and minus 115 is Mally's best bet. They copy and paste that. Thank you for sharing that with us. Mally, get it set up for where is that one? Jesus, so many games today. Okay. There we go. In the Wolves Magic game. Sorry. Okay, lock that in. Thank you for sharing that with us, Mally Mal. All right, Spectrum Center, Charlotte, North Carolina. Charlotte playing at a very slow pace, and LaMelo making his season home debut tonight. Charlotte 1-4, 96.78 possessions a game. So a big difference in pace for this one. Sky Dragon says lean over, but it's really high pass. Benny Pennybomb says I'm going back to it tonight with LaMelo. Had 9 assists last game, so close to the double-double, going back with him for the double-double. Sammy Comer says Pacers scorching hot. LaMelo first game back at the house, and he is passing. Let's go to the line history here for Pacers Hornets, and then we'll take a look at the cash flow, set a very quick table, and then have LJ take it away. So here we go. The Hornets open up at minus 2.5. They dropped to 2 for a little bit. They're back at minus 2.5. From a totals perspective, it opened up at 231 and is shot up to 233. We go over to the cash flow for this one. Just 3,026 tickets in. 36% of the tickets and 94% of the cash on the Pacers. But the market not moving there. Then we have 50-50 for the tickets, but 58% of the cash on the over, and that is being respected here. That is being respected. Ball over 1.5 threes from Mally Mal. Billy Friedrich dropping his best NBA pick. Thank you for sharing that with us, Billy. Bulls third quarter plus half. He's been running very hot with his angle, and Craig Adams has his looks. Magic plus 5.5 and Thunder plus 4.5. Let me copy and paste all this. So before we hand it over to LJ, Pacers coming off their third win in a 4-game homestand. 118-114 at home over Toronto on Saturday. Well rested, 1 5 of 7. Buddy Hield led Indiana with 22, and Tyrese Halliburton 15 assists. Miles Turner is averaging 21.5 points and 10 boards over his 4 games this month. Hornets snapped their 8-game losing streak with a 112-105 win at Orlando on Monday night. LaMelo now 2 games back after that preseason ankle injury. He had 17 points and 9 assists, and tonight is his home debut. I find it very... And Rodney M. Rodney, thank you, my man, becoming a member here, supporting the channel. Thank you, my friend. I feel like the fact that the market is not moving towards the Pacers, and everybody's been watching what the Pacers are doing, it tells me the Hornets are very live here. Take it away for us, LJ. Pacers, Hornets.
I agree with you. I think the Hornets are very live. The Pacers, this is their first road game since October 29th. They've been at home for a while. And like you just mentioned, LaMelo's home debut tonight, they've covered both first quarters since he's been back, averaging 32 points in those first quarters. So I believe that the Hornets will come out and attack the Pacers tonight. The Pacers are also a -5 point differential in the first quarter, which is dead last. So I believe the Hornets will jump on them quick. The total has gone over 8 of the last 9 games on the road, the Pacers being on the road in Charlotte. And the Pacers are also on a 7-win ATS streak, 6-3 ATS as a dog. But I do believe the fact that LaMelo's back in that lineup, and he also averaged last year 28 points, 10 rebounds, and 9 assists, which is a 47 PRA last year versus the Pacers. I believe that Melo will show out tonight, but I don't like the fact that the Pacers are missing Halliburton. They say he's day-to-day. He hasn't been ruled in yet. So the fact that he is out of the lineup, I can't bet the Pacers cover this spread. So I'm going to lean towards the over because I do believe that the pace will be fast. I do believe that points will be scored. And I think the Hornets will come out and jump on the Pacers real quick, real fast, but I lean towards the over. I just don't want to make it official because Halliburton has not been ruled in the lineup. But I do have a prop. Miles Turner, over 2.5 blocks. He's had 3+ blocks, 5 of his last 7 games. He averaged 3 blocks last year versus the Hornets last year. And the Hornets give up the most blocks to the center position in the NBA. So, Miles Turner, over 2.5 blocks is my prop for this game.
What is the juice on the 2.5 blocks?
I have it at -110.
-110. What's keeping you off of that first quarter look that you broke down?
I just don't trust it because, like I said, every time I bet quarters, the Pacers may come out and surprise me. So I don't want to put a lot of bets, in because my record is always 500 when I'm betting on these shows. So I'd rather take the prop bet that I know for sure is more likely to cash, opposed to trusting that the Hornets will cover this first quarter spread. But like I said, I'm going to wait to see because, like I said, this is LaMelo's first home game. He has been doing good. Like I said, they're averaging 32 in the first quarter since he's been back. But I have to see it a couple of more times for me to make a legitimate bet on the Hornets. But that's just my breakdown for this game. But I am on Miles Turner's prop over 2.5 blocks.
Well, I am going to be on the Charlotte Hornets here at home. I love your note about not leaving Indiana since October 29th. Dan, Kelly, can you, when you say the most interesting data point that has been killing it lately is teams back home after a trip, could be just time of year. Have they been succeeding back home after a trip, or have they been playing poorly back home after a trip? I'd love to hear that side of it. Turner over 2.5 blocks. I feel like this line with the Pacers playing such good basketball. Remember, look at that lineup that the Raptors had in that game on Saturday. I mean, this is not our strong lineup whatsoever. It's a weak lineup. But look, the Pacers won 5 of 7, comfortable at home, winning at home, and now going out on the road. I like it. I'm surprised that this totals all the way up to 233 with how slow Charlotte's pace has been over the last 5 games at 96.78 possessions a game. I'm not going to mess with it because clearly the books are nervous about all this overaction and they've moved the point total up 2 points. So I'm not going to mess with it. Spenny Pennybomb says LaMelo double-doubles plus 165, but his 10-plus assists is plus 175. Oh, wow. So, yeah, I guess got to go 10 plus, unless you think his boards could help you get there. But I like it. I think the Hornets. I think the Hornets are the play. Snap their 8-game losing streak. Look, and that was a beat up Magic team as well. But I like this idea of getting Indiana out of Indianapolis.
I like it too. I agree with you.
Yeah, I'm gonna fire on it. Craig Adams, thank you, my man. Craig Adams becoming a member here means a ton to us. Respect, Craig Adams. I love it. Craig Adams and Rodney M, new members here for us. Let's roll on. Let's roll on to Minnesota Timberwolves, 6-8, 2-3 on the road at Orlando Magic, 4-10, 4-4 at home at Amway Center in Orlando, Florida. And Mally Mal has given us his best NBA play. It's the first quarter Wolves -1.5 at -115. Minnesota 2-3 over their past 5, playing at a pace at 101 possessions a game, while Orlando 2-3 playing at a pace of 96.88 possessions a game. Wow, that's a wild Officer 50. Yashallah. Look at that NCAA record. That's a thing of absolute beauty. Sammy Comer has got to run, but the Magic are a sustained buy at home as a dog versus the West. Magic plus 6.5 is a confident play for Sammy Comer. And we have Fat win moving on the San Francisco Dons today in college basketball. We are talking about that game. That's our final game on the entire show. We are talking about the Dons at the Bulldogs at the Save Mart Center in Fresno. So thank you for sharing that with us. Thank you, Leonard Porsche Jr. Thank you for the kind words. Says how great the live show was Monday night. You, Sharpie, Babano, clicking and giving out winners. It was fun. It was. It was my worst week of action in NFL. But man, did we clean up? I just under 580 I made in the 2 games live betting, and it did a dent in the losses. Okay, so back to this spot here. We got LJ joining us from Houston. Let's take a look at the line history here in this one. Timberwolves, Magic. The Wolves are a very tricky team to trust, and I know they burnt a lot of people's cash. 4-9-1 right now against the spread. This opened up with the Magic as 5.5-point dogs. Now they're 6.5-point dogs. From a total perspective, it opened up at 224, and it's now 223. From a cash flow perspective, we have just 2,698 tickets in. 28% of the tickets, 40% of the cash on Orlando. Then you have 69% of tickets, 74% of the cash on the over. And Spenny's saying Banchero didn't practice yesterday, and he says Carter is a game-time decision as well. Let's talk about this. Timberwolves snapped their 3-game losing streak with a 129-124 win at Cleveland on Sunday. Finally, a D'Angelo Russell sighting this year, 30-11. He's been shooting 32.9 from 3. The Wolves' defense is atrocious, 116 points per game. And they were in complete control of that game. And Darius Garland went off in the fourth quarter and brought Cleveland all the way back. This Timberwolves team just can't be trusted. Magic had their 2-game winning streak, snapped a 112-105 loss at home to the Hornets on Monday, shot 40.9% from the field, and had 22 turnovers. If they win this game, Magic will have a winning homestand here. They'll go 4-3 over their 7 games. And Banchero day-to-day and possibly unlikely. And Mally Mal talking about the Carter situation. And Banchero is out. He is officially out. Dav Fenn moving on the T-Wolves -3.5 first half. Let's hear LJ's take on this one. Take it away, LJ. Timberwolves, Magic.
Yeah, I'm on the Timberwolves first quarter, -2. They come out fast. They're averaging 31 points in their last 3 games in the first quarter, averaging 33 in their last 5 in the first quarter. Meanwhile, the Magic is only averaging 25 in the last 3 in the first quarter. So they tend to start off slow. So I'm just going to jump on Minnesota first quarter. I'm not going to take the full game because the Magic is 6-2 ATS at home. And they're 12-2 straight up in their last 14 playing at home versus the Timberwolves. So the Timberwolves can give up the game in the second half. They do have the rest advantage, though. They haven't played since Sunday. So that's why I'm going to jump on them early with some good legs. I think they will be rested, ready to go. I don't like the fact Orlando, the best player, Pachero's out. So I'm just going to stay off the full game. But I do believe Minnesota will come out fast, take the first quarter, because that's where they're effective at. And that's where I'm taking it. -2 first quarter for Minnesota. And I'm also going to take Karl-Anthony Towns points, because they haven't put out the double-double yet. He's had 5 double-doubles in the last 7 games. He's averaging 22 and 14 in the 2 games versus Orlando last year. So I'm going to jump on the 21.5 points, -124, and I'm going to take the over 8.5 rebounds, -112.
Over 8.5 rebounds at -112. LJ making moves here. Timberwolves first quarter -2, -108. A Cat over 21.5 points at -124, and over 8.5 rebounds at -112. Spenny saying no Banchero, possibly no Carter. Not sure I can look at the Magic. Suggs and Wagner will have to step up. Looking to them for props. There's picks from Dave in the house. Dan Kelly says, don't give too much credit to the T-Wolves last game. Cleveland had their best 2 players on the bench, Mitchell and Allen. They were in a really bad spot. I can't trust Minnesota at all. And I don't want to fade. I don't know if there's value fading Orlando ever at home as the numbers that you put out there.
Mm-hmm.
There's Shy Archie in the house. What up, Shy? So I'm going to move past this one. By the way, that Timberwolves first quarter bet's being smoked right now. It's at 2.5 at half of the books. It opened at 1.5. That's a big move for a first quarter, especially this early. So LJ locking in that first quarter. Timberwolves -2 at -108. Sky Dragon says, trust Minnesota to not play defense, play the over. This is another spot where the team they're playing, though, in Orlando is playing at a pace of 96.88 possessions a game. Take another look at that total here quickly before we move past this one. 10 games on the NBA slate tonight for us. It's dropped a point from 224 to 223. I'm just going to move past. I did not. My ROI in Timberwolves games is atrocious so far this year.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of opportunities for me on the board. I'm going to move past it. Let's move past it. 7 p.m. Eastern. Oklahoma City Thunder 6-8, 2-5 on the road at the Washington Wizards. 8-6, 5-3 home. Capital One Arena, Washington D.C. OKC 2-3 over their past 5. Playing at the fastest pace in the NBA, 104.54 possessions a game. Washington 4-1, playing at a pace of 99 possessions a game over their last 5. Washington playing good basketball right now without Beal. Let's take a look at the line history here. Washington opening up -4.5, -105. They're -4.5, -103. So no change there. A couple cent move towards the Thunder. This total opened up at 226. It shot up to 229. Take a look at the cash here in this one. Just 2,584 tickets in. 39% of the tickets and 65% of the cash is on Oklahoma City. You see the line not moving. Then 81% of tickets on the over. This is the only game where we don't have a cash amount for the over. Fowlish Hound, what's happening? Great to see you. She says, hi, fellas. I like it. I like it. Dan Kelly says at one point, first quarter move is so big that there is a value opportunity to fade it. That's what it is a huge first quarter move at this time in the morning, a full point. Interesting. All right, let's set the table for LJ and have him take over. Thunder had their 2-game winning streak snapped in a 126-122 loss at Boston on Monday night. They're playing good basketball, and they're playing at a fast pace, and they're putting up a ton of points. They're averaging 132.8 points over their past 4 games. Shea, 37 points in both of his past 2 games. It's wild. They put up 145 against the Knicks. Shea with 31.5 points, 5.8 steals, or 5.8 assists, 2.1 steals. He looks so good. Wiz come off their 4th straight win, 102-92 at home versus Memphis on Sunday. KP, 25 points. They've won their first 3 games of the 6-game homestand, and it's all been done without Bradley Beal, who's still trying to come back from NBA health and safety protocols. The Wiz have hit 35 3-pointers over the past 2 games and shooting 46%. 19 against the Grizzlies was just one shy of their franchise record. Are they going to keep hitting at this pace? Can they keep scoring? No team's going to keep scoring at 46% from 3. Maybe this is the time to back Oklahoma City. Mally Mal says Washington's been great against these West Coast teams. Take it away. LJ, Thunder, Wizards.
Mally's right, because the Wizards are 3-1 versus the West. So, but Bill is coming back tonight. And usually the stats show that you fade a team with their superstar player coming back. Far as the Thunder, man, they are an ATS machine. Three straight ATS covers. This is 5 games in 8 nights, though. So there's a lot of games that they've been playing. But the Wizards have 5 straight covers ATS as well. So I didn't have a play on this game. The Thunder 5-2 ATS on the road, 8-4 ATS as a dog. The Wizards 5 wins ATS streak. So both these teams cover. And the fact that Beal is coming back to that lineup, I think is going to change a lot. And I just can't trust that the Wizards will have that same effectiveness, like you just said, at the pace that they've been playing, because I think things will slow down now that Bradley Beal is being inserted back into that lineup. But I wouldn't be mad if you took the Thunder to cover this spread because, like I said, they cover pretty much every game that they play. They're never counted out. But I'm just going to stay off because it's just too many moving parts in it. But far as Shai Gilgeous, I wouldn't be mad if you take his point prop because he's averaging 30 plus. Well, he has 30 plus 6 of the last 8 games. But other than that, I'm just going to stay off because I just feel the Wizards with Beal coming back, it's just too much for me to try to cap and try to make a prediction because both of these teams cover.
I like the idea of not expecting the Wizards to continue shooting the way they are, to have their rhythm messed up. Of course, Beal's going to help in the long run, but we're just talking about this one game.
Mm-hmm.
I like this. I feel like Washington is being so strong as a dog. Who wants them as a favorite, and who wants them when their stars coming back? And but they could figure that all out by the fourth quarter, which is just what they've seemed to be doing throughout this homestand, beating good teams. So I would like to fade them early in the first quarter, expecting Beal just to kind of mess the rhythm up. So what's Gasport saying? Coming back, going to take it out of Kuzma's hands, which seems like the best move right now. Joe Chris is on the Thunder plus 4.5. And Mally Mouse says he was just about to say that. Yeah, I think that's it. And that's it, +1 at -105. This +1 got up to -108. Back to -105. I think that's it for me. First quarter Thunder.
Yeah, I wouldn't be mad. I like it.
They're such a young squad, though. It feels like even when they get behind early, they just battle back and battle back. Dav Fenn says the enthusiasm is there with the Wiz, and Beal adds to it. Definitely cannot bet against the Wiz. Dan Kelly says the Wiz have covered 4 straight by at least 9 points to the spread without Beal. Keep Beal on the bench. Wow. Yeah, I like it. Maybe I could even go deeper on this. I won't. I hate this kind of thing where I feel like I could be getting too cute focusing on the first quarter, but I'm going to. All right, and LJ staying off of it. Let's keep it rolling. Next up for us is a beauty. 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Boston Celtics 11-3, 5-2 on the road at the Atlanta Hawks. 9-5, 5-2 at home. We're at State Farm Arena in Atlanta, Georgia. Boston 5-0, playing at the pace of 101.20 possessions a game over the past 5, and they've won 7 straight. Atlanta 3-2, playing at a pace of 103.10 possessions a game. Let's go to the line history here in this one. We have the Celtics playing at a very high level, opening up at -2. They're now -3. From a total perspective, it's shot way up, opening up at 232.5, all the way up to 236. Mally Mouse saying that this Atlanta bench is weak. It sure is. Sure is. Let's go over to the cash flow here in this one. 4,678 tickets in. 47% of tickets, 80% of the cash on the Hawks. It's moved a point in the opposite direction. 77% of tickets and 64% of cash on the under, but it's shot way, way up, way up. Celtics come in off their 7th straight win, as I said. Brogdon unavailable on Monday with the hamstring injury. Peyton Pritchard came up big in 14 minutes, but that hurts them. I don't know if Brogdon will be back with that hamstring. I don't know if anybody has that information at this point. Hawks coming off their second win in 3 games, 121-106 in Milwaukee on Monday. All 5 starters scored in double figures. DeAndre Hunter stepped up. Clint Capella stepped up. But this is a tough task against that was a Milwaukee team that beaten up. And maybe this Boston team comes in beaten up. Take it away for us, LJ. Celtics Hawks.
Yeah, Celtics, best team in the East, 8-3 in their conference. They're averaging 102 points. You know, that's best in the conference. They're number one point scored in the whole NBA. And I think they like playing Atlanta because it's a conference game. Like I said, Boston's 3-0 versus that division. They're 5-1 to the over on the road in the first quarter, and they're averaging 62 points in the last 5 games in the first half. So that brings me to my first play. Boston, -1.5 first half. Because, like I said, they come out strong. They shoot a lot of threes as well. I think they're number one in 3 points. That's where a lot of their points come from, the 3-point line, considering they can't score inside a lot. Like I said, the lack of the size that they're lacking because all they can do is trust Horford because of Robin Williams is out of that lineup. But the fact that Boston, like I said, their first half, their top 3 first half point margin, Atlanta is bottom 10 first half point margin. So I do believe Boston would jump on them quick. So I'm just going to take the first half. I'm going to get in and get out because I don't trust the full game because Atlanta is 18-4 straight up in their last 22 games at home. So they can come back in the second half. They're 10-3 straight up in the second half as well this season. So Boston could slack off in the second half, but I'm going to trust the first half for them to cover that spread. It's pretty low to me, 1.5. I think they can win by 2 points in the first half. And I'm going to be on Jason Tatum's PRA over 42.5, -121, because he's the leading scorer and he's the leading rebounder on that team. He averaged 31, 8, and 5 last year versus the Hawks, and he's averaging 33, 7, and 3 right now on the season. So those are my plays right there. And I wouldn't be also, I'm going to take Capella's rebound prop over 11.5 because Boston has allowed a double-double to 9 different Eastern Conference centers because they've been out rebounded 8 of their 13 games that they've played. Capella, he has 6 double-doubles in his last 9 games, 5 out of the last 6. He averaged 12 rebounds in the 4 games versus Boston last year. So I'm going to take that rebound prop. And also a sneaky one that I'm not going to make official, but everybody that's watching, write this one down because this is a good one. Marcus Smart, over 6.5 assists, -124, because Atlanta allowed an average of 8 assists to the point guard position the last 5 games. Marcus Smart has had 6+ assists, 9 of his last 12, and he's averaged 6 in the 4 games last year versus the Hawks. But I'm not making that official. But the only official ones I'm going is Capella's rebounds, Jason Tatum's PRA, Boston first half -1.5.
I can get you that first half -1 at -110. What is your number for Tatum PRA?
-121.
And how many is it?
42.5.
-121 over 42.5. 42.5. And then Capella over 11.5 rebounds. What's the juice on that?
-104.
-104. LJ is locked in. Dan Kelly says another way to play a game when you like a team for the first half is to play that team full game and then at halftime grab the other side for part of the original bet. He says if you get lucky, you hit the middle. If you lose the first half, you still got a full game chance. Look from our Dan Kelly. Josh R is on Brown under 25.5 points. And Bananas and Grapes says Celtics team total over. He sees buckets. I like your look on the Celtics first half -1. I like it. Makes sense to me, especially with the Hawks coming off, going into Milwaukee and beating them on Monday and feeling good about themselves. I like it. I like it. And Clint Capella with the over 11.5 boards. 6 of his past 7 games, he's recorded a double-double. So that all works. Yeah. All right, let's keep rolling. Next up for us, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, Miami Heat 7-7, 1-3 on the road at the Toronto Raptors, 8-7, 5-1 at home. We're at Scotiabank Arena in Toronto, Ontario. Miami 3-2 over their past 5, playing at a pace of 97.37 possessions a game. Toronto 2-3, playing at a pace of 101 possessions a game. Take a look at the line history here in Heat Raptors. We have the Raptors opening up as 1.5-point home dogs. That's where they stand right now. No change. From a total perspective, it opened up at 215, is now 216. When we go over to the cash flow, just 1,374 tickets in. 54% of the tickets, 44% of the cash on the Heat. 36% of tickets, 60% of cash on the under. Mally Mal says, I think Miami wins easy here, just waiting on the injury report. It is a massive one. We'll start with the Heat, though. Coming in off their third straight win, 113-112 at home over the Suns on Monday. Bam, 30-10. Butler, 16-13-7. And Kyle Lowry looked better, 15 points and 6 assists. No Tyler Hero with the ankle sprain. He's been out 4 straight games. Raptors snapped their 2-game losing streak with a 151-11 win at Detroit on Monday. There was no Pascal Siakam. No Fred VanVleet. He's got this non-COVID illness. So Siakam with the groin. Precious Achiuwa, ankle sprain. Gary Trent, hip. Gary Trent, by the way, has looked bad, real bad. He's taken a ton of heat here in the media for how bad he's looked. And he will not, it sounds like there's no chance of a long-term contract where if you had said this to us at times last year, we're like, oh, I can't wait to lock him down to a long-term contract. Otto Porter also hurt his toe. He left at halftime. So Delano Banton scored the career-high 27 points. He's just beloved up here, by the way. You know, Scarborough kid. Everyone loves him. I got to get his jersey. Boucher went for 20. 2 Canadian kids leading the way. OJ Anunoby, 19 points, 7 boards, 2 block shots. The last time LJ was on the show, he gave us the Anunoby steals prop over that he ended up hitting, 7 straight games. That was a beautiful, brilliant look. This Toronto team plays with a lot of heart. And maybe the Heat want to win this game for Lowry. There's a lot of moving parts here. Take it away for us, LJ. Heat Raptors.
Yeah, too many moving parts, too many injuries. So I can't even cap the game because I don't know who's going to be in the lineup. Like I said, Siakam going to play? Is Butler going to play? You know, it's just too many injuries for me to get a legitimate cap to see who could have the advantage in this game. Miami's 3-4 in their conference, 3-11 against the spread. Toronto 6-5 in their conference, 5 straight losses against the spread. So they both been trending down. The only advantage I see is the Heat averaging 31 points in the first quarter, the last 5 games, while Toronto's only averaging 26. But like I just said, I don't know who's going to be in the lineup. Now, if Jimmy Butler is in the lineup, you know, he's done well versus the Raptors. The last, last 3 games, he's averaged 24 points, 10 rebounds, and 10 assists with 2 steals. And Siakam, the last 3, he's averaged 22, 11, and 6 with 2.5 steals. But like I said, I don't know who's going to be playing. So I did a hard pass on this one. And also, Scotty Barnes, 5+ assists, 5 out of his last 8 games. And Bam has had a double-double, 5 out of his last 6. But like I said, I don't know who's going to play. So I didn't cap the game. So I'm just going to pass on this one.
Yeah, I get it. Gas Sports says this game is terrible pass. What we do know, Siakam is out.
Yeah.
Butler is not on the injury report, I believe. Hero is out.
Mm-hmm.
So it's VanVleet. That's a game time decision. Trent Jr. game time decision. And Bam, that's a game time decision at this point. Mally Mal looking at the under 216. There's just too many. It's hard to get a feel for what the pace is going to be or what the matchups are going to be with all the injuries. So I can totally understand. AOD saying this is a backwood. Josh R says I have a boost on the book that has Raptors to win the under 215.5. So leaning Heat money line are over because of that. The book's boosts always lose like 85% of the time. Yeah, it's wild the way they do. So Heat Raptors, no move for us. And Dan Kelly saying, be careful on Charlotte, Toronto, Denver, Phoenix, all returning home after trips. And lately, those teams are losing straight up as home favorites. Let's move on. 8 p.m. Eastern, Cleveland Cavaliers 8-5, 4-4 on the road at the Milwaukee Bucks, 10-3, 7-1 at home. Pfizer Forum in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Cleveland 1-4 over their past 5, playing at a pace of 99 possessions a game, while Milwaukee 2-3, playing at a pace of 99.17 possessions a game. Let's move over to the line history here in Milwaukee, Cleveland. Let's move over. Here we go. We have the Bucks opening up at -4. They're now -4.5. From a totals perspective, it opened up at 220 and has dropped all the way to 217. Look at the cash flow here. We have 1,727 tickets in, 68% of tickets, 71% of cash on the Bucks, and then 35% of tickets, 62% of cash on the under, and the book's uncomfortable with this under. By the way, Spenny says Wendell Carter didn't go through the shoot around, so probably doesn't go for the Magic. That's a great help for us, Benny. Thank you for letting us know. Cavs coming up their 4th straight loss, 129-124 at home versus Minnesota on Sunday. Darius Garland did all he could. That was the biggest fourth quarter in franchise history, 27 points. Scored 51 in the game, second highest point total this year by anyone. No Donovan Mitchell, no Jared Allen, no Dean Wade on Sunday. So Love made his first start, 14 points, 5 boards, 4 assists in 29 minutes. We need to know if any of those 3 will be back in the lineup before making a decision here. Bucks coming off their second straight loss, 121-106 at home to the Hawks on Monday. They start 9-0. Now they've lost 3 of 4. Giannis returned from a 2-game absence, 27 points, 31 minutes. They went 6 of 29 from 3. Antetokounmpo didn't help. He went 0 for 3 from 3. And he just went 11 of 18 from the foul line. So no Chris Middleton, no Pat Connaughton, no Drew Holiday the last 3 games. Both these teams are real beat up. Take it away for us, LJ. Cavs, Bucks.
Same game with this game. Too many injuries. I just don't have a feel of how the pace is going to go, who's in the lineup. I did see they do have Donovan Mitchell's prop out, so I do believe he will play. But Jared Allen's out. I don't know if LeVert's going to play. D Wade, he's day-to-day. So Cleveland, the fact that Jared Allen is out, I do believe that we can bet on Evan Mobley to get his rebound prop because he's going to be the only guy in the paint rebounding the ball. So I think that's going to be a for sure bet for sure. It just hasn't came out yet. But as soon as that Evan Mobley prop comes out, I'm probably going to take that. But far as a side, like I said, the Cavs are 7-1 in their conference. The Bucks are 6-2. The Cavs are 2-0 division. The Bucks are 2-0 in their division. So these two teams, I believe, are on a crash course to meet up in the playoffs to determine who's going to be the beacon in this division. And that's one of the reasons why I believe Cleveland traded for Donovan Mitchell so they can compete with Milwaukee in this division. Because Milwaukee has won this division the last couple of years outright. No one has been able to compete with them. So I do believe Cleveland will be right there at the end of the season when everything falls into place. They're going to compete for this division for Milwaukee, but Milwaukee still has to get their players back. Middleton's still out, like you just mentioned. So it's a lot of injuries that still need to come back for these teams to be effective. But far as the Cavs, they are 9-4 straight up in the second half. So I do believe that they are a second half team and the Bucks are a first half team because they're 9-2 straight up in the first quarter, 9-3-1 in the first half. Now, if you want to take the Bucks first quarter, first half, that's the way that you play them. But the fact that Drew Holiday is out, their point guard is out, who's going to be controlling the ball? Carter, I just can't trust the other ball handlers. And I don't like Giannis bringing the ball up the court all the time. He needs to be in the paint. So it's just too many moving parts for me, man. I'm going to sit back and watch this game because I've been waiting for this game. This is the first time these teams are meeting this year. And like I said, they're in the same division. I think they are going to be competing for this division. So I'm just going to sit back and watch. Hopefully some players get ruled in. But I don't have a play on this game at all because it's just too many injuries like the last game. So I just stayed away.
Yeah, Mally Mal saying sounds like a Cav spot as you explain it. But the problem, though, Mally Mal, is the Bucks have lost 3 of 4. So Cavs have lost 4 straight. That if the Bucks had beaten up the Hawks 121-106 instead of losing to the Hawks, I'd be 100% with you. But and Giannis coming off a pretty ugly game, 8 of 21 from the field, 11 of 18 from the free throw, 0 for 3 from 3. It's not appealing. Let's find other games because there's a ton of them on the board. 8 p.m. Eastern, Chicago Bulls 6-8, 2-4 on the road at New Orleans Pelicans, 8-6, 4-2 at home at the Smoothie King Center, New Orleans, Louisiana. Chicago 1-4 over their past 5, playing at a pace of 101 possessions a game. The Pelicans 3-2, playing at a pace of 99.70 possessions a game. Let's take a look at the line history here in this one. We have the Bulls opening up as 3.5-point dogs. They're now 3-point dogs. From a total perspective, opened up at 224.5, now all the way up to 227. Take a look at the cash flow and see if it's with the Bulls and the over. Certainly with the Bulls, 58% of the tickets, 72% of the cash on the Bulls. From a total perspective, 47% of the tickets and 62% of cash on the over. So there are big bets coming in on the over, and it moved 2.5 points in that direction. By the way, Dan Kelly says, I will be watching, talking about that Cavs game, I will be watching this game as if I were a lifelong Cavs fan. Too much emotion for me. The dog leaves the room. I love it. I love it. All right. Bulls coming off their second straight loss, 126-103 at home versus Nuggets Sunday. They look terrible. They looked terrible in the first quarter, turned the ball over 6 times, were down by as many as 15. DeRozan didn't take his first shot till halfway through the second quarter. They allowed 60% shooting. It was awful. They turned the ball over 18 times. They allowed the Nuggets to go 13 of 27 from 3. And I know the Nuggets are hitting threes at a really high rate, but it was just atrocious. Zach LaVine went for 21, but it was an ugly, ugly game. The Pelicans are on the second half of a back-to-back after beating Memphis 113-102 at home last night. And they made 18 threes on 38 attempts. It's sort of the same deal with the Wizards game. I don't expect this team to shoot at that level. Zion Williamson, bruised foot day-to-day. McCollum finally had a game, 11 of 23 from the field, 7 of 13 from 3, and hit 9 assists. I think the Bulls come out sharp and angry and play well in the first quarter. I would like to back the Bulls early. But let's hear what LJ has to say about this one. Bulls, Pelicans, Smoothie King Center.
The Bulls just lost to the Pelicans last Wednesday, 115-111.
Yeah.
And I do believe that the Pelicans will win again. The Bulls are 0-2 versus the Southwest Division, 0-3 versus the West. The Pelicans are 3-2 versus the East. And like you just mentioned, they came off a win last night versus Memphis. They are in their home gym. The Bulls are coming on the road, which they're only like 2-4, I believe, on the road. And history shows that the Bulls don't succeed on the road very often. But the Pelicans are -3 right now. I don't want to take it considering how they won last night against Memphis. They really won a hard-fought game, and a lot of energy was instilled. So I can back your first quarter play with the Bulls, considering, it's the first quarter. I wouldn't trust them the full game, but they may catch the Pelicans slacking in that first quarter and may cover that. But other than that, I don't have a play on this game. Zach LaVine averaged 35 points in the 2 games last year versus the Pelicans, so he may come out and hit 30. But other than that, I don't have a play because the Pelicans won last night. They're on a back-to-back, and I don't trust the Bulls to come out and win. I'm not confident they can come out and win. So I'm just going to stay away, because, like I said, I got more plays on other games as well.
Dan Kelly looking at the Pelicans in the fourth quarter. Mally Mal saying very likely that Zion will be in on the second half of this home back-to-back. Bananas and Grapes says this is a revenge game. Look, I think that LaVine goes off. He was very upset after the game. It was on Sunday, so they have a rest advantage. Mm-hmm. Pelicans coming in off a big win where they shot incredibly well. Mm-hmm. And looks like TJ may have a gift for us. So I'm on Bulls first quarter. By the way, a couple of sharp books here have already moved this to +0.5. This first quarter has been +1 for a long time. Bookmaker and BetChris have moved it to +0.5. I'm going to move on the Bulls first quarter +1. I think they come out and come out hard, come out really hard, especially after how bad it was last week. So I like that spot. All right, let's keep rolling. We have 3 games left on the card before we get into college football with DJ Big Boss, but no rush for us. LJ, 15 minutes for these 3 games. And we have your Rockets in business. 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Houston Rockets 2-12, 1-9 on the road at Dallas Mavericks 8-5, 7-1 at home at American Airlines Center in Dallas, Texas. Houston 1-4 over their past 5, playing at a pace of 100.8 possessions a game, while Dallas 3-2, playing at a pace at 94.9 possessions a game. Very, very slow. Go over to the line history here in this one. We have the Mavericks opening up at -10. Now they're -9. From a totals perspective, opens up at 221, now 220.5. I don't know how anybody could back these Mavericks at this big of a spread. I mean, they're barely winning all of their basketball games, but they're winning them just barely. 7-1 at home. But let's take a look at the cash flow here in this one and see if it's on the Rockets. It is 45% of the tickets, 90% of the cash on the Rockets, and then 35% of the tickets, 64% of cash on the under. It just feels like this game doesn't matter to Dallas, but it matters to Houston. Rockets coming off their third straight loss, 122-106 at home to the Clippers last night. So second half of a back-to-back. Mavs also on the second half of a back-to-back after defeating the Clippers 103-101 at home last night. So their last 5 wins, the Mavs have won each game by 5 or less. Luka 35, 11, and 5. They got 21 from Finney-Smith and 7 threes, 16 from Dinwiddie. But only one player off their bench scored points. One player, Christian Wood. That's it. And also, you play Dinwiddie for 41 minutes, Luka for 40 minutes, and Finney-Smith for 36 minutes. I mean, kid's saying he's not concerned about it, but doesn't make sense to me. Take it away for us, LJ. What up, Jeff Arp in the house? Polo this, polo that. Take it away for us, LJ. Rockets, Mavericks.
Yeah, I was going to mention that. Luka, Dinwiddie, they played a lot of minutes last night, and they had to win that game twice last night versus the Clippers. You know, they took the first half. Clippers came all the way back in the second half, and if it wasn't for a Luka Hail Mary 3, they probably would have lost that game. So they exerted a lot of energy last night to defeat the Clippers, and now they got to come down a back-to-back and play a feisty Houston Rocket team. So I am on the Rockets plus the 9. I believe the number's too high. The Rockets, I believe, will cover because they're averaging 107 points in the last 3 games, and Dallas is allowing 108 points in their last 3 games. And the second, Dallas goes 2-0 to the over, second night of a back-to-back. So I do believe the Rockets will come in here and play a game. You know, they play Dallas hard usually pretty much all the time. They usually don't win, but they do cover. And I'm going to be on my Rockets tonight. But Dallas first half, they are one of the best first half teams. They're 9-2 and won straight up in the first half. They're +5 first half point margin. But they don't care about the second half for some reason. They just slack off, and sometimes they have to hold off to the very end to win the game. So that's the reason why I'm going to take the Rockets plus the 9. And also, the Rockets turn the ball over excruciating a lot. Number 1 in the league in turning the ball over. So I'm going to be on Luka Doncic 2+ steals -110 because the Rockets have gave up at least 2+ steals to every point guard that they have played each in this season. Everyone has got 2+ steals every single game. And it's been more. You know, a couple players have had 2 more, but every guard position that they have played in every game has had 2+ steals. So, wow. Yes, Luka, 2+ steals, easy play. He had 3 last night, I believe, or 2. I had it last night. I'm jumping back on it again. But I don't believe he's going to score that much because I think they're going to have tired legs. I think the bench is going to be more productive tonight. And I wouldn't be mad at a Christian Wood prop because he's playing his old team. The prop hasn't came out yet. So I'm just waiting for that prop to come out. But I most likely will be on Christian Wood's points prop as well. And I'm also on Jalen Green over 21.5 points, -106, because he's had 20+ points in 6 straight games. So
Jalen Green, what was it, over 21.5?
21.5 -106.
-106. 3 looks for LJ. Rockets +9 -102 available at 5 dimes. Luka over 2.5 steals at -110. And Jalen Green over 21.5 points at -106. I'm joining you with the Rockets. TJ says Dallas 9 straight against the spread losses. Wine Time says it's Houston or pass. And Slatsy letting us know that Binnington is confirmed. Dan Kelly says Dallas likes to go under the second half team total, and Houston lets their opponents go over the second half team total. So something will break. And Bananas and Grapes saying either Jason Kidd said either Dinwiddie or Luka will sit. Says one of the two. If that's the case, then get in now if you want the Rockets. If you want the Rockets, get in now with that information. All right, let's roll on. We have 2 games left on the board. Next up for us, 10 p.m. Eastern. New York Knicks 7-7, 3-4 on the road. The Denver Nuggets 9-4, 4-0 at home. We're at Ball Arena in Denver, Colorado. Knicks 3-2 over the past 5, playing at a pace of 103.09 possessions a game, while Denver 4-1, playing at a pace of 100.9 possessions a game. Knicks on the second half of a back-to-back after their second win in 3 games, 118-111 at Utah last night. Knicks gave up 145 points at home on Sunday to Oklahoma City. And they, bounced back, right? They had a meeting, a players-only meeting, and they played better. Nuggets coming off their 5th win in 6 games, 126-103 at the Bulls on Sunday night. They lead the NBA in field goal percentage, 50.4%. They're playing really good basketball, but Jokic enters health and safety protocol on Tuesday night. So we'll be seeing a lot of DeAndre Jordan out there, and they can go small with Brown. So he's the second Nuggets player to enter protocol. Bones Highland is also in protocol. Aaron Gordon listed questionable with a non-COVID illness, which who knows, could become a COVID illness. So, Jamal Murray, Michael Porter are going to have to do a ton. Porter was terrible against the Celtics, and then he put up 31 against the Bulls. So Porter is playing well this year. Let's take a look at everything for us here. Line history first in this one. This one opened up with the Nuggets -9. The Jokic news comes out. So this was yesterday at 5:59. Since then, it's down to 3.5. From a totals perspective, it opened up at 233. It's dropped all the way down to 226.5. And from the cash-wise situation, we have 32% of tickets, 55% of cash on the Knicks, and then 65% of tickets, 74% cash on the under. Dan Kelly says, Knicks catching their second team in 2 nights back home after a road trip. I think they take advantage of this spot again. Dad Fan says, no Joker, no Nuggets. Take it away for us here, LJ, Knicks, Nuggets.
Yes, I am on the Knicks, plus the 2, first half. They covered that first half last night versus Utah, and Utah was the best first half cover team in the league. And they were able to cover those points last night. So I see the same thing happening tonight. They're catching Denver, missing their players. Jokic, like I said, is out. A couple more players are out. And the Knicks have been playing good. They're averaging 62 points in the first half, which is number 1 in the NBA. So that's the reason why I'm going to jump on them first half. The Nuggets, like I said, they usually come out in the first half strong too. They're averaging 60 points in the first half. But considering Jokic is out, he's their leading points, rebounds, and assists. So you take that away, where's the production is going to come from? So you depending on Murray, Gordon, a lot of other players that haven't been in those roles to be productive. And I just don't see it happening the way the Knicks have been playing. And I'm also going to take Julius Randle over 21.5 points, -115, because I do believe he's going to control the paint tonight, because a lot of DeAndre Jordan is going to be there, and we already know how DeAndre Jordan is. So he shouldn't even be in the league, in my opinion. But I think the Knicks take advantage of the boards tonight. You also could look at Jalen Brunson. He's had 20-plus points 6 out of his last 8, and he's had 7+ assists 6 out of his last 7 games. So you could look at him as well. But I'm just going to stick to Julius Randle because he's averaging a 32 PRA on the season. He had 26, 8, and 7 the 2 games last year versus Denver. So I do believe he will get his 21.5 points, -115. And also another sneaky prop that I can't seem to find, Bruce Bowen. He's had 3+ assists in 12 straight games. But I can't get that prop because, like I said, I'm only limited to 1 book. So all the people in the chat, if you see a Bruce Bowen assist, 3+ assist prop, take it because he's had it in 12 straight games. But other than that, I'm on the Knicks first half +2, Julius Randle over 21.5 points, -115.
Is there any fear in this game? Is that why you're focusing on the first half, that we see another team step up enormously in that first game without their superstar?
Yep. That's exactly what I feel, because you never know what to expect in the second half. So I'd rather get in and get out because, like I said, a lot of these teams, you can't predict what they're going to come out in the second half and do. So you might as well just take the advantage of what you see that they're doing the best and just stick to that. And the Knicks are a good first half team, 62 points averaging, number 1 in the league. So that's what I'm going to stick to and just get out.
Yeah, of course, you sit there and you think, well, no Jokic, no MVP, how are they going to? But we just see it too often. We see it too often where the team is at home and rallies around the players in the lineup. I can't. I'm just not going to. I'm not going to back them. I'm not going to back them. But I guess I would. We'll see how far it goes down. But I'm going to stay off this. But we have LJ on the Knicks first half +2 at -108, and Julius Randle over 21.5 points at -115. Joe Chris also looking at the Knicks first half. Spenny Pennybomb saying Michael Porter Jr. going to be shooting. Alfonso Scott's on the Wolves -6, Hawks +3, Knicks +4, and Suns money line. And Dan Kelly not seeing assist props for any Denver player at this point.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right, let's roll into our last spot on the board, and it's going to be a beauty. 10 p.m. Eastern, Golden State Warriors 6-8, 0-7 on the road at the Suns 8-5, 6-1 at home at Footprint Center in Phoenix, Arizona. Warriors 3-2 over their past 5, playing at a pace of 101.10 possessions a game. Phoenix 2-3, playing at a pace of 95 possessions a game. Let's go into the line history here in this one. We've seen the Warriors open up as 2-point dogs, move to 1-point dogs. From a total perspective, it opened up at 227, now at 228. We go into the cash. We have 44% of the tickets, 63% of the cash on the Suns. So 1-point move in the opposite direction, though. Then you see 75% of the tickets on the over, but just 43% of the cash. So there's some bigger bets on the under. Wow. Let's go. Warriors coming off their third win in 4 games, 132-95 at home over the Spurs on Monday. But again, 0-7 on the road this year. And one of those losses was here in Phoenix in an emotional game. Klay Thompson got his first ejection. Warriors got beaten up badly, 134-105. Thompson rested against the Spurs. Poole moved in the starting lineup, went for 36, 13 and 20 shooting. Steph only played 27 minutes against San Antonio. He only put up 16 points. That's season low, but no need to push it. Suns coming off their third loss in 4 games, 113-112 with the Heat on Monday. Booker, 25. He's topped 20 points now in 10 of the 13 games. Booker, 34 and 7 assists in last month's win over the Warriors. Chris Paul still dealing with right heel soreness. He's questionable. He's missed 3 straight games, could miss his 4th. Cameron Payne averaged 22.5 points and 6 assists in the first 2 games that Chris Paul missed. And then, he can't keep it up. That's the difficulty of the NBA is you have to keep doing it over and over and over and over again. 4-17 shooting against the Heat, 9 points in 31 minutes. Dwayne Washington came in off the bench and put up 21. Landry Shamet still out with a concussion. This is the funnest game probably to cap on the board here. LJ, do we expect the Warriors to clap back here after being embarrassed in this arena, Footprint Center, on the 25th of October?
Yes, I believe they will. I believe they had this game circled because as we remember, Klay Thompson got ejected in that game when he got into it with Booker. So I do believe the reason why Steve Kerr did not play Thompson the last game, Steph Curry only played limited minutes because they are gearing up to come into Phoenix tonight and smash the Phoenix Suns. I do believe it. And the fact that Chris Paul is still out, they have to start Cameron Payne at point, gives me more incentive to take Golden State first half full game. And I do believe it's at Pick'em right now. So you need to get in right now because I expecting Golden State to come in here and win their first road game. Because like you just mentioned, they're 0-7 on the road. So they're going to get their first road game tonight. I think the Suns are going to just digress. I don't believe that they will have the firepower to sustain the Warriors tonight. I do believe they have all their players healthy. And the Suns are missing Chris Paul and they're missing Cam Johnson. So those are 2 starters that you're missing out of your lineup to try to compete with the defending champions at full roster. So that's my play. I'm on Golden State first half and full game. And I'm also on Draymond Green over 6.5 assists, minus 129. Because he's had 6+ assists, 7 out of his last 8 games, and he averaged 8 assists versus the Suns last year in the 4 games that they played. So I do believe the Golden State Warriors will come out fast, come out hard, come out scoring, and I don't think the Suns will have a chance tonight to win this game.
Yeah, I love it. I love the idea. I think I'm going to roll with you full game, but it's, there was spots on that Eastern trip where the Warriors had to man up and they weren't able to. But now there's real emotion involved after being stomped on by Phoenix. Did you want, so I can find you a +0.5 first half at minus 101 at Pinnacle. So that's a real nice line.
Okay.
But do you want the full game on the money line or do you want it on the spread? The money line, the best we could get you, minus 105. And on the spread, we can get you a +1 at minus 113. They've become the favorite at some books.
I want the money line.
All right, let's give you that minus 105 on the Warriors full game. Minus 105. And then your Draymond prop was over 6.5 assists.
Yep, minus 129.
Minus 129. There you have it. There you have it. Warriors plus a half, first half, and full game money line. Green over 6.5 assists. Dan Kelly giving you a shout out, LJ, for doing a great job. Justin McElvee's all over the Lamella PRA prop. 2 units, big night in his home debut in front of the crowd. Wow, I think that you're right. I think that this game means a lot to the Warriors. A lot. For you think of the 15th game of the year, how could it mean a lot to the defending NBA champs? But I think it does, and I don't think the Suns care very much about it, really. And that will probably be their excuse if they lose. I get it.
And Chris Paul's out. That's a huge factor to me. Your general's out. Your point guard. Who's going to facilitate? Booker can't do it all. He still has to score. So I just think they're missing too many pieces to compete with this team that's hungry, and they have been waiting for this game. They have been waiting. I saw it when I saw that game. I knew that they were going to have this game circled because they were playing in a couple of weeks. So I know Golden State is ready to come into Phoenix and put it on their throat.
I love it, LJ. Love working with you. I'm excited to track your action tonight. Let's review all action. Turner over 2.5 blocks at minus 110. And I am moving on the Hornets full game at minus 2.5. I understand that these home favorites coming back from road trip have been losing. I feel like this is a different situation with the Hornets at 4-11 and 1-5 at home, and the Pacers haven't left Indianapolis since October 29th. So, and of course, the Pacers are going to get a ton of cash, right? They're going to get a ton of cash. Right now, they have 94% of the cash. 94% of the cash. And, God, I guess maybe, looking back at it, they only have 37% of the tickets. So either it's a syndicate or somebody making a huge bet on the Pacers. I guess that makes me a little nervous. But I just feel like if all that money is on the Pacers, why is the market not moving towards them? Because it isn't. And it moved to 2 and then came back to 2.5. All right, I think I'm going to stick with the plan here. So LJ on Miles Turner over 2.5 blocks, and TJ says Pacers is the play for him. I don't want to go up against you guys. Polo this says love Indy money line tonight, big. I have enough action. Maybe I'll add question marks to it now. Okay. I guess it's, the reason why we talk it all out. Miles Turner over 2.5 blocks for LJ, and I'm deciding about the Hornets. LJ's on the Timberwolves first quarter, -2, -108. Cat over 21.5 points and -124, and over 8.5 boards and -112. Mally Mal gave us his best play on the board, and that was the Timberwolves first quarter. Eric Romero saying Halliburton questionable. Yeah, that's a big piece to the puzzle. I'm moving on the Thunder first quarter. LJ's on the Celtics first half -1. Tatum points, rebounds, and assists over 42.5, and Capella over 11.5 boards. Heat, Raptors, and Cavs, Bucks have so many injury issues, and we've stayed off both of those spots. I'm on the Bulls first quarter at +1. They had 6 turnovers on Sunday against the Nuggets in the first quarter. And Levine was really upset after the game, upset with the team, not crying on the podium like Carr, but angry with his team. And I look, there's 2 spots. The Wizards shoot 46% from 3 last game, and then here we have the Pelicans who shot what did they shoot from 3? I don't have it here, but they hit 18 threes on 38 attempts. Okay, they're 18 for 38. So what's that? 46%. So I'm gonna believe that they're not going to do it here. They're not going to do it here. Bam has been ruled out. Bet that with Jay says Bam has been ruled out. See, these are the moving parts that we're talking about. Thank you for sharing that with us, Jay. Wow. Okay, so then LJ's on the Rockets +9. I'm rolling with him. And if you do like that spot, if you don't, it's all good. If you don't like the spot, then wait, because there is a story from Bananas and Grapes that either Dinwiddie or Luka is going to be held out. And don't forget, they each played 40+ yesterday. And maybe that's why Jason Kidd was not concerned about the heavy workload, because he knew that one of them or both of them wasn't going to play.
Yeah.
And then if you take one of those guys out of the lineup, then what's Christian Wood going to have to do now against his former team? Interesting. LJ's on the Rockets +9. I'm rolling with him there. He's on Luka over 2.5 steals, and he's on Green over 21.5 points. Then LJ's on the Knicks first half +2, and Randall over 21.5 points. I'm going to roll with LJ on the Warriors full game. He's also on them first half +0.5. I get why you're doubling up. Though. I mean, you have to think that the Warriors will be just, so involved early. Why did you pick first half over first quarter?
Because the Warriors are averaging 60 points in the first half. So I do believe the Suns can keep it close in the first half, because Devin Booker is the number one scorer in the first quarter. So if it's tight in the first quarter, I do believe the Warriors will push away in the first half and ultimately win the game in the second half. So I'm just going to trust the second half, considering the numbers that the Warriors are putting up the last 5 games, 60+.
I love it. Follow our guy LJ on Twitter at LJ Sports Media, and you will see him here more and more as the season goes on in both NBA and NFL. And I imagine that you'll be attacking college basketball as well this year. So I look forward for your takes on all of it. LJ, we love you, man. Respect. Thank you for joining us. Enjoy the rest of your day. Get that cash tonight. Any last words for the Cappers here supporting the show?
Oh, man, love it, man. Love the support. Like I said, shout out to Dan Kelly, Marley Marr, Alfonso Scott. Special shout out to Fallish Hound. Excellent follow on Twitter. Y'all need to follow that girl. Very follow. Don Play, all y'all, man. They be hitting me up on my Twitter, asking me questions, giving some insight from me, because I love the support. And like I say, I'm an open book. I'm transparent. I love capping these games. This is what I love to do. This is my passion. So everybody keep hitting me up. Let's cash and keep getting this money, Jimmy.
I love it. There he is, LJ from H-Town. We now move into college football, where we've just been excellent. That's what it is. We've been excellent. 30-14 now is our record. 68.2% plus 14.8 units ROI plus 33.64% average line minus 110. And what we've been doing is capping these weekday games together. And if I don't cap them with you guys, I don't bet them. So I'm not moving on Saturday games. What we're doing is working. Why change what's working? And I can't wait to bring on your next guest, making his triumphant return to Betting with the Bag. Man, OG that I just love working with. And so great to see him back in action, feeling good, back at home. Please welcome to the show, DJ Big Boss. Boss, what up?
What up, thou? What up, Jimmy? Live and direct. How you feeling today?
Feel so good, man. So good to see you.
Hey, check my mic. Am I really on? What's happening? Y'all hear me out there?
Yeah, you're good, man. You are good. So we have DJ Big Boss back-to-back days. Today we are going to be focusing on this Wednesday card. Tomorrow with DJ Big Boss, we are going to have the one Thursday game, and then we're going to hear his best bets for the rest of for Saturday. So that will give me an opportunity to bet on Saturday games if we break them down together, which has been my rule. DJ Big Boss, you're getting a ton of love from the chat, as you deserve. Let's get to work, my friend. We start at 6 p.m. Eastern. The Eastern Michigan Eagles, 6-4, 3-3 in the MAC at Kent State. Golden Flashes, 4-6, 3-3 in the MAC as well. We're at Dick Stadium in Kent, Ohio. It is 34 Fahrenheit, cloudy, 10 miles per hour. Let's move over to the line history here in this one, and then we'll move over to the cash flow, and then I will set a quick table for DJ Big Boss. Here we go. The Kent State Golden Flashes at home here in a must-win game. Line history-wise, we have Kent State opening up at -7. They're now -7.5. I mean, this game is just screaming that Eastern Michigan doesn't care about it. It's just screaming that. From a totals perspective, it opened up at 61 and it's dropped to 60.5, but it went all the way down to 59 and it's been climbing back up. Let's take a look at the cash flow here in this one. We have 30% of the tickets on Kent State and 15% of the cash. Wow. So Eastern Michigan has 70% of the tickets, 85% of cash, and it's moved from 7 to 7.5. That's wild. Then 63% of the tickets and 84% of cash on the under. Leal said it is on the under 59. So Eastern Michigan comes in off their second win in 3 games, 34-28 at Akron, as 6-point favorites. The sophomore quarterback Austin Smith was at quarterback in this one, and they got their bowl-clinching victory. We're expecting him to get another start here tonight. He was 16-28 for 190 yards, 2 touchdowns, also threw a pick. But it was Samson Evans who was a beast, 133 yards and 2 touchdowns. He has 855 yards and 11 touchdowns on the season. And they're bowl eligible. You know, how important is this game to Eastern Michigan? Because we know Kent State, this is an absolute crucial game for them. They're coming in off their second win in 3 games. They absolutely destroy Bowling Green 40-6 as 3-point favorites. Colin Shiley is a monster. I mean, he missed time with injury. He's come back and he's been so good. He's been really good. Passer rating at 136.8, threw 3 touchdown passes, ran for another one. And he's run for 403 yards and 4 touchdowns. Marquez Cooper has 1,106 yards rushing. Only 18 FBS players are averaging over 100 yards rushing per game. Marquez Cooper is one of them. And Eastern Michigan allows 165 yards per game. They're per carry, they're fine, though. They only allow 4.1 yards per carry. It's not awful there. But their defense is not good. They allow the opposition to convert 40.5% of the time on third down. They're second to last in red zone defense. And Kent State needs this game if they want any shot at a bowl game. We just watched them demolish Bowling Green. Now here they are. By the way, Dante Cephas is hurt. He's their leading receiver. But this team has depth there. They've got Devontae Walker. They have Jayshawn Polk. Jayshawn Polk missed 4 games with an injury. He's a beast. If they go in with just Walker and Polk, they have a great 1-2 punch at wide receiver. Kent State's defense has been giving up 160 yards per game to MAC opponents. They're last in conference play in passing yards allowed. But I just don't see them getting hurt by Austin Smith. And when we look at this 4-6 record, remember, they played against Washington, Oklahoma, Georgia. And the tricky thing to decipher here is Eastern Michigan having all these tickets and all this cash on them, but the market clearly moving to Kent State. Take it away for us, DJ Big Boss. We head to Kent, Ohio. Beautiful Kent, Ohio. Take it away, Eastern Michigan, Kent State.
Hey, before I cap a word, man, I just want to give a great big shout out to all my Capper family, man. Those prayers, trust me, they was felt, heard, and I appreciate every last one of them. And if you out there and you don't know nothing about this Capper family, man, we go thick, man. We done had Cappers come and go, hospitals, kids, all that kind of stuff. And it's always a great place to lean back, you know, and get some support in some tough times. So I appreciate that a buck. But enough with that. I'm back. Let's get into this game right here, man. So I like all the spicy stuff they try to make about the Kent State team right here. Remember, this team, they have some kind of little ESPN documentary or something going on. They talked about how they picked Georgia and all those teams that was supposed to make them so much more impactful when they came down to conference play. And that didn't weigh out too well for them. Now they're trying to turn it around. I think this got a lot of overemphasis. I mean, the last time these two teams played in 23-27 Kent State. I don't see much that makes Kent State so much better than Eastern Michigan, especially not at 7.5, which is already a crooked number in the get-go. Both teams are 3-3 in the conference. I could plead the case for Eastern Michigan how important this game could be for them as well. So both of them are very similar. As a matter of fact, although Eastern Michigan has their woes on defense in their individual spots, overall, they're only allowing 381 yards per game. So I think that just in this type of MAC action early in the week, we consider the schedule and all that kind of stuff, I lean towards Eastern Michigan plus the points. I mean, I just rather have the points than not. You're betting on two bums. Both of them are upside down, meaning that they're allowing more points than they're scoring. So I'm not going, just because it's some action for Wednesday, I'm not going to jump up out of my seat and make a fuss about it. But I do like that under that the money's coming in on. And it's reasonable about the under, considering the score of the last matchup, the fact that they're both upside down, and the fact that Eastern Michigan may be able to play some defense. I think when it comes down to it in these MAC games early in the week, it has a lot to do with turnovers. So if they can stay clean of turnovers, we'll get a great pace game to fall under 59.
Looking at the under here is DJ Big Boss. I agree with Sky Dragon that I think Kent State is much better than Eastern Michigan. But is this where you want to back a team after they blow out Bowling Green 40-6 and now are 7.5 point favorites?
Well, Bowling Green is not the best example. I mean, they've been Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde all year. Some teams they've been blown out, and then they didn't got blown out. So I wouldn't take that as a great example to put them up against, though.
Well, they played a much, much tougher schedule, and they need this game badly, where Eastern Michigan doesn't. But you're right. I guess, they had Colin Schlee out for a bunch of the year, and they're a completely different team with him at under quarterback. I just, the fact that the market's moved, you have 70% of tickets, 86% cash on Eastern Michigan, and then they move it to 7.5 to get even more money on Eastern Michigan. It tells me that Kent State's actually trying right now. But 7.5 might just be too much. Officer 58 Yashala took Kent State first half, in the first half under 23.5. That's really low total here. Let's see what we can get. Big Boss here on the under. I'm concerned that Kent State smashes again. But I don't know. Let's see what we can get you on the total here. We go, the best total we can give you right now is, wow, it's going back up. Wow. A bookmaker and Bet Chris have moved this up to 60.5. Wow. Under 60.5 for DJ Big Boss, under 60.5 at -110. So if you had a free bet on the side right here, free $500 bet on the side, you would be on Eastern Michigan plus 7.5.
Absolutely. I mean, it's the number, for one, tells you that there's something suspicious, but you have to be careful. That's why I find more value in the total than the side, because in a situation like this, more of the time either it becomes a really, really close game or it becomes a way lopsided game. So with the under, even if it becomes a lopsided game, and let's say Kent State handles business at home, they probably have to handle business by holding Eastern Michigan off on defense and maybe beat them, let's say, like 24-7 or something like that. You know what I'm saying?
I was hoping to be on Kent State here. I don't know if I will. Mike M. Pimp Slot play today is Kent State under 60.5. Brandon the Great says Kent for me, buy point if needed. Jarek White on the under 60. Top Shelf Play saying Eastern Michigan 4-1 on the road. Okay. Well, we have DJ Big Boss in on the under 60.5. Let's move on to the second game on the board here. 7 p.m. Eastern. Miami of Ohio Redhawks 4-6, 2-4 in the MAC at Northern Illinois Huskies 3-7, 2-4 in the MAC. Husky Stadium, DeKalb, Illinois, 32 Fahrenheit, cloudy, 10 miles per hour. Let's take a look at the line history for this one, and it's been a big move total wise and spread. Northern Illinois opening up -2.5, now -1. 1 point favorites, but they were a dog. They were a dog this morning. They got to +1. Wow. So they went from -2.5 to +1, and they're back to -1. From a total perspective, it opened up at 47.5 at Pinnacle. It's all the way down to 44.5. We have Sports Insights giving Miami of Ohio full line value. 67% of tickets, 92% of cash on the Redhawks. Then you have 61% of tickets, 69% of cash on the under. Ricky Levine, DC Capper, Kansas Duke under 145. Nice job last night. And T-Mac joining us as well. Redhawks coming off their third loss in 4 games, 37-21 at home versus Ohio as 2-point dogs. Now they have to win their last 2 games if they want to become bowl eligible. So Gabbert hurt himself in the last game. Ankle injury on the final play of the game. He was in a boot after the game. And Chuck Martin, their coach, was saying, the extra day of rest will give him time to heal, and we're hoping that he'll be cleared to play. It's telling me just by looking at the line that Gabbert will be good to go. Avian Smith is the backup, and it's a big drop from Gabbert to Smith. Gabbert was the preseason MAC Offensive Player of the Year candidate, but he's only played in 4 games because of injury. I'm hesitant to trust that he's going to be healthy for the full game. He looked great against the Bobcats, 28-26, 244 yards, 3 touchdowns, and him and Mac Hippenhammer just roll together. As Smith is a dual threat. Smith is second on the team in rushing, and Smith probably sees a few plays here, even if Gabbert is cleared to play. 69 yards on 21 carries, and only 3 going 10 or more yards, Miami of Ohio, in that last game. Not good enough. Their running game is poor. So Northern Illinois, the Huskies are number 1 in rush defense. And this team already can't run. They snapped their 2-game losing streak with a 24-21 win at Western Michigan as a pick'em. Haston Whaley and Ontario Brown were not available. And here comes Jaden Creedle, who 136 yards, a touchdown on 36 carries. It was impressive. And Justin Lynch ran that 53-yard touchdown winner. He looked excellent. So the Huskies really don't have much to play for. I mean, they can't get into a bowl game. Their red zone defense is absolutely atrocious, and they're not going to keep giving the ball to Cremascoli, are they? I mean, he's a true freshman. He looked awful. 8 of 17 for 133 yards. He's pulled. Lynch comes in, and Lynch is a monster. Obviously, it was with his legs and not his arm, but you have to think that Lynch will be back. So this Redhawks team is really good defensively, allowing just 138.3 yards rushing per game. And they've only allowed 6 touchdowns in 6 games on the ground. Take it away for us here. I completely understand why the under is being hammered. It's moved too far for me to move on it now. But let's hear what Big Boss has to say. Miami, Northern Illinois.
Well, I was on this under way early in the week. It was kind of jumped off the page a little bit right here. Miami. I was looking for a spot to catch the under with a team like Miami, Ohio. They're 2-8 to the under for the season, and their offense is also 25% on third down. So they bad offense, pretty good defense. A great combination right here for under versus a NIU team who we know is built behind the run. So that's going to make a big difference. Both of them are holding the ball about approximately 30 minutes time of possession, and they're both running the ball about 36 times a game. So I don't expect to see the ball go up in the air too much in this one. I expect the pro-style game to be, flat and simple. So as long as we don't get no block kicks or no punt returns or no crazy quick atom-ups, we should be locked in going to the under. It's going to be bitterly cold out there. Got a few winds going on in our favor, and just a whole lot of things that just point right to the under. But on the side of things, I'm gonna go with NIU. I'm just not comfortable with Miami, Ohio, with 25% on third downs. That concerns me a lot, and I'm not sure if I want to have such a tight line with a team like that. Whereas NIU played great the last time they came out. They have a specific system. They kind of smash mouth. They have to get the lead in this game. Now, if NIU happens to get behind by more than 10 points, you might want to hop on the live because they struggle to come back because they don't pass like that. But they run the ball great. They play great defense. They're playing a team that they should be able to slow down. And I like the under and NIU on the side.
Leo, great job getting it at 47. I guess I agree. I just don't see how Gabbert's going to be good to go, and it's such a big drop here. And they're the spoilers now, right? They're playing the spoiler. They can stop the Red Hawks from getting a bowl game. They probably stopped this Krimiscoli thing. He's been terrible. But right now you have 67% of tickets, 92% of cash on the other side. And that makes me nervous. God, thank God we have Boss making moves here because Boss is on NIU. Let's get him the best line available here. Sorry, I got the Chips Broncos matchup up here. Let me move that over here. All right, sorry. My bad. God, sorry, a little slow here. From a spread perspective, we can give you NIU -1 at -106. NIU -1 -106. And from a total side, we can give you the under 45. 45. Would you want 44.5 at 108 or 45 at -115?
Give me the 45.
Under 45 at -115. What would I get if I was to bet this under right now? Leo getting the 47 makes me very jealous. If I was to bet it right now, 44.5. I could see this going under still, but I'm hesitant. And I would be with you on NIU if there wasn't all this cash on the other side, which is telling me that Gabbert is going to be good to go. Leo said it says NIU hasn't won a home game since September 1st. Brian Mueller says NIU has won 75 of the last 94 games when playing as a home favorite. This is tough. There's a ton of moving parts injury-wise. Now, obviously, the most important thing here is Gabbert. Is it Gabbert or Avion Smith? Okay, no move for me on that game at this point. Let's talk about the final game, and then we'll do a review of everything before we get into NCAA basketball with Daby Cab. 8 p.m. Eastern, the Western Michigan Broncos, 3-7, 2-4 in the MAC at Central Michigan. Chippewas, 4-6, 3-3 in conference. We're in Mount Pleasant for this one. 27 Fahrenheit, mostly cloudy, 6 miles per hour. It's cold, and it will get colder as the game goes on. Let's take a look at the line history for Broncos Chips. We have the Chips opening up at -10. They got up to -11. Big favorites here. From a total side of things, it opened up at 50, and it's still there, although it's -115 to the under. Big favorites here. Even at this number, the Chips have been given small line value at Sports Insights, maybe 5%. 46% of the tickets, 60% of the cash on Central Michigan. Then 65% of tickets, 86% of cash on the under, but it's not moving. It's not supposed to be snowing tonight. And I looked at this weather just a few hours ago, but someone can double check that. Western Michigan comes in off their second straight loss, 24-21 at home versus Northern Illinois at a pick'em. Sean Tyler, 97 yards in the touchdown. Crooms caught 7 passes for 105 yards. Trayson Bourget, he's not very good, but one thing he's done is he's not turning the ball over. He's a true freshman, and he's not making horrific mistakes. And I don't mind him. I don't mind his conservative play at all. But they were 3 of 14 on third down. He's certainly not a high-profile quarterback, and he really only has Corey Crooms to go to. Corey Crooms has 725 yards, 5 touchdowns. No one else on this team has more than 344 yards receiving. Central Michigan comes off their second straight win in 3rd and 4 games, 31-27 at home over Buffalo as 3-point favorites. They were down 24-7 at the half and completely took over and kept their bowl opportunities alive. Burt Emanuel Jr. came in, and so they have 2 quarterbacks that they play, right? McElwain will go with Daniel Richardson in throwing situations, and then he'll use Burt Emanuel Jr. As like a triple option type deal. He ran for 293 yards and 3 touchdowns on 24 carries against Buffalo. Buffalo just had no answer. So the Broncos can play defense and can stop the run. And when they do that, McElwain will bring in Daniel Richardson. So, but I kind of like Bourget, and I think that Western Michigan can play with Central Michigan, although Western Michigan has no hope for a bowl game, and they're sitting 3-7. Let's Dance says it will be snowing in Mount Pleasant, Michigan. I'll double check that because it didn't say that hours ago. I'll double check that. Take it away for us, DJ Big Boss. Western Michigan, Central Michigan.
This one was quite an easy one for me because it falls in a couple categories of some methods that I've been using for years that works for me at a nice percentage. And first off, that's an interstate rival. You got Western Michigan and Central Michigan, interstate rival. 10 points is too many points to put between an interstate rival. Both teams has every motive. Who runs the Taco Bell, who does this, the shows, whatever. Every team wants the title of beating the other team inside the interstate rival. So sometimes you might just want to jump on it first half and stay away from all the riffraff. But sometimes, it becomes a second half play where they come inside the number. So give me the 10 and a half now. Give me that too. And give me Western Michigan on the side of things. And as far as the total, it falls under another theory of mine. As I tried to break it down, if you look at the overall stats, they about the same. They're a few points off, a few yards off within each other. They both kind of do the same thing. And I find this works a lot in college sports. When you find two teams that are similarly talented, you usually get an opposite effect of what the line is set out. So a line at 49 in a game like this is kind of low. So even though it's going to be snowing and all that, but you got to think they both from this region, they both play football under these circumstances. So it's not really a big deal. It's all about how heated the rival is how they're going to come out there and play. So that number will probably come down closer to game time because if it is really snowing. So I think that you got to go counteractive and go over. Two teams similarity, they know what each other's do. And then I double checked it and cross-referenced it as well. Last two meetings in 21 and 20, both scored over 70 points combined in each game. So it's been proven that they're close to each other and that, they're going to be able to put up some points some way, somehow, despite the conditions tonight. So I lean with that over, but the most value is taking those points with Western Michigan.
Yeah, I think that makes sense, the Western Michigan look. But 46% of the tickets, 60% of the cash is on Central Michigan, which makes me really hesitant to move on the other side. This is extremely difficult. This is a much harder card than I thought. I thought we were going to find some spots here. God, I kind of like Bourget. I don't know why people are down on him. And look, we just saw Central Michigan have their game of their season. Just the game of their season. We're going to expect them to carry it over right away. I find it hard to believe. But then what happens is McElwain is capable of making adjustments in the second half, as we just saw. We got Matty Ice says it's cold as shit here in Michigan and it's damp. Says huge interstate rivalry in the MAC. I just don't expect Central Michigan to conjure up the incredible glory they did, at least in the first half. In the first half, I don't. And let's just see what that spread is in the first half here. Because clearly McElwain has something pretty sweet on his hands with this Bird Emanuel and then, Robinson. I mean, it's very, very tough to defend it. You have the ground game going, and then anytime you want Richardson. I said Robinson. Richardson, you can throw with Richardson, who's been really good. And he's been tested. Every time he's been tested, like they've taken the job away from him for a minute, and he's got the job back. And so I'm just going to see what the spread is first half here with Bourget and Western Michigan. We're getting a plus 6.5. All right. Well, that's what I am going to do. Ross Pitt says take all the points for the teams that are getting points. Eastern Michigan, Miami of Ohio, and Western Michigan says they're all going to cash. I'm going to move on this first half look on the Broncos. We have Boss on the full game. But at this point, that is the only bet that I have. First half plus 6. I'm going to spend more time with these, but that's the only look at this point. So let's just take a quick review here, see if I can add anything. We have Eastern Michigan, Kent State. Boss is on the under 60.5 in that one. And that has 59% of tickets, 80% of cash on the under. And when we look at the spread here in this one, are the books at all afraid of that total? It's down to 59.5. Pinnacle's dropped it to 59.5. So Pinnacle's only been dropping this one. 34 Fahrenheit, cloudy, 10 miles per hour. Not quite as cold as it is in the other spots. And we know that Austin Smith, will run the ball if he's in. Okay. And then we have Schlee back for Kent State. So maybe that is this Eastern Michigan team total under. Because then at least then I have my look on Kent State really turning it around right now with Schlee at quarterback. And I'm going to get a 24.5 with Eastern Michigan. Okay, so sorry about talking all this out, you guys, but I'm going to be on Eastern Michigan team total under. Team total under, and that is right now at 24.5. 24.5, under 24.5. At minus 115. Boss is on the under 60.5 in that one. And then we move over to the Red Hawks Northern Illinois game. And then at that point, I can let this go. I can understand why Boss is on NIU -1 in the under 45. I don't know what's going to happen with Gabbert. And I would have to deal with a 44.5. And I'm just going to stay off that spot. And there we go. That is our NCAA football breakdown. So I have Western Michigan first half plus 6.5. And I have the Eastern Michigan team total under. Boss is on the under 60.5 in Eastern Michigan, Kent State. And he's on NIU -1 in the under 45 in Red Hawks Huskies. And then he's on the Western Michigan Broncos plus 10.5 -105. DJ Big Boss back in business with us. Boss, we love you, and it's great to have you back. And I get you back again tomorrow. Boss will be giving us his look on the Thursday nighter, but he'll also be giving us his best bets. We'll go over the best spots on Saturday. And we love you so much, Boss. So great to have you back in action back home. We have so much love for you. It's so deep. We love you, buddy. Any last words for the Cappers supporting the show?
Man, I appreciate all the love, man. All those DMs of people that had never DM'd me before, man. I made sure I followed all y'all back, man. If I didn't, let me know. But I really appreciate all y'all support that reached out to me, man. And check us out on the Boston and the Shaw Show tonight. Me and my man Big Ragu, we've been down for a minute, both of us, and we bounced back a little bit, had some fun tonight. But other than that, go follow on Twitter. Make sure you come by NCAA Pub Hub right here on Pub Sports on Saturday morning. Back in action with Ian, Connor, Mack, and Big Ragu. We should have a full squad this weekend, and I already got some stuff locked and loaded, and got a lot to say about some of these matchups and some of these predicaments in college football.
I love it. DJ Big Boss. Great to have you back in action, my man. Looking forward to tomorrow. Do it again.
All right, man. See you then.
There he is, DJ Big Boss in the house of Who Bangin' Sports Talk. Make sure you follow and subscribe Who Bangin' Sports Talk as well. Let's move on. And no Brogdon or Smart tonight for the Celtics, by the way. No Brogdon or Smart tonight. Wonder if that should take off that Celtics -1 first half that I have asterisks all over. It will. We knew no Brogdon, but the Smart questionable. All right, let's move into college basketball. Your next guest is the star of Tuesdays and Wednesdays here in our college basketball show at 5 p.m. Eastern. And he's here to rock today with us and be our expert here. We have 8 games on the card, and we got some big ones set up. So please welcome to the show from Dallas, Texas. We got Daby Cab in the house. Daby, what up?
What up, Jimmy? What up, chat? Ready to get to this college basketball and make some money today, my man.
I love the sounds of that. Luchase Fox says, hell yeah, got here just in time. Let's get to work. I will not be setting much of a table for you, Daby. I will do my best to do a very little bit so you can get rolling and give the line history and the cash and just a quick touch. But this will be on your shoulders, and we're excited to have you here. We have Daby Cab today and tomorrow for NCAA basketball, so I'm excited to have him on the show. Let's get right to work, Cab. We start at 6 p.m. Eastern. The number 20 ranked Michigan Wolverines 2-0 on the year versus Pittsburgh Panthers 1-1. Man, did the Panthers look bad in their last game. 81-56 loss at home to West Virginia on Friday, and we heard from Toite Latte on Monday just how bad he thinks this basketball team is. Michigan comes in off an 88-83 win at home over Eastern Michigan, the now very tough Eastern Michigan basketball team. And that was on Friday. So both these teams played on Friday. We have Pitt opening up as 9-point dogs. This actually went down to 7.5 an hour and 10 minutes ago. It's back at 8. They're 8-point dogs here at Pinnacle. From a total perspective, it opened up at 141.5 and has dropped to 139. When we go over to the cash flow in this one, we where is it? Let me get this up here. Michigan, show me your fucking face.
I'm interested in that cash flow. I want to see what moved that line.
Yeah, I'm not finding this. I don't know why it wouldn't be here. The hell's wrong with me? I can't. There it is. Sorry, my bad. 4,287 tickets in. Sports Insights has given Michigan slight line value, 10% line value, but 25% of the tickets and 31% of the cash is on Pittsburgh. This is a neutral site game, right, in Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York. So I guess what they're saying is that Pittsburgh's not nearly as bad as they look. 25% of the tickets, 31% of the cash on Pittsburgh, and then 72% of tickets, 74% of the cash on the under. Take it away for us, Cab. Wolverines, Panthers.
I think to simplify this game, I think we all know it's going to come down to Hunter Dickerson, the 7-1 center for Michigan. He's going to be the best player on the court. There's no question about that. I don't think that Pitt will have anybody to stop him. And you said it, and I'm glad you said it. That Eastern Michigan game that was close for Michigan, Eastern Michigan's a good team. They've got the transfer from Memphis, Imani Bates, who I know he wasn't standout last year at Memphis, but he is a very, very good basketball player. And this Eastern Michigan team is going to be extremely good this year. So you don't want to take too much from that game unless you understand that. On the other side, Pitt does not have a good offense. Right now they're ranked 327th in the nation, and their turnover margin is -3. That is horrible. So like I said, Pitt doesn't have a good offense, and they're not super healthy, which is one thing that scares me about this, Jim, is I think that when you talk about the money and we talk about Pitt maybe not being as bad as we thought, they're not a fully healthy team right now. The biggest guy that they have for Dickerson is a guy, Frederico. He's 6'11", but he's giving up 20 pounds to Dickerson. We're talking about a 220 guy trying to cover a 240-pound grown-ass man. I mean, it's a mismatch at its finest. I could only be on Michigan here, but I'm not on this game. I've only got a couple bets today. I'll tell you that right now. But I still love breaking these games down, man. I could only be on Michigan. I'm just worried 8.5 is too many points. Too many points. I think Michigan wins. I've got no concern about that. And I don't think Pitt is a good team. I don't think people are overdoing how bad they are. But like I said, they're not fully healthy, and I want to see them fully healthy.
I think what the market is saying here, and I don't know, I'm not saying we need to trust it by any way, but is that they're not as bad as they looked against West Virginia. In that UT Martin game, now I know the Skyhawks are terrible, but Hinson goes for 27 and 13. And then let's just see how bad Hinson was against West Virginia here. Then against West Virginia, he goes for 5 points. I mean, he was terrible.
Horrible.
So you got to think, I guess what they're saying is that Hinson bounces back. He was 2 for 9 from the field, 1 of 6 from 3. That's after a 9. He went for 27 points and 13 boards in that first game. So I can get that. I have a feeling that, 25%. There's a reason why the market's moved slightly towards the Panthers. And now we're at a neutral site. And the Panthers coming off getting slapped in the face. I can understand this. Let me just see what I would get if I was betting, if I went and bet this right now here. I'm starting to lean towards the Panthers in this one.
My thing with Michigan is I think they're a very good basketball team that's heading in the right direction, but I am not ready to lay 8.5 points with these guys. Just not going to happen. I love Michigan as an underdog or, on a money line or maybe a 1 basket favorite, which obviously you're not going to get in this game. You never were. I just, I'd need it around 5.5 or something if I was going to be involved with Michigan.
And Matty Ice has 2 programs, 2 totally different directions. Michigan by 10 plus should be easy here. I'm leaning towards a buy low opportunity of really early in the season after a Pittsburgh team gets slapped in the face. That's what I'm leaning for. And I wonder if gotta tire out Hunter, and maybe I should stick with the full game, not first. Okay, I'm going to look into more of that, but Pittsburgh at plus 8.5, I think might end up on my card. Again, 75% of tickets, 74% of cash on the under, and it's dropped 2.5 points, and Pittsburgh's offense is not good. Let's move on to the next spot on the board for us, Cab. 7 p.m. Eastern, Cincinnati Bearcats open the year 3-0 up against the Northern Kentucky Norse, who are 1-1. We're at Truist Arena, Highland Heights, Kentucky. We'll start with the line history in this one and the cash flow. Line history-wise, we have Cincinnati opening up as 6.5-point favorites. There's been no movement. From a total side of things, it opened up at 137.5. It actually got up to 139, but it's back at 137. Cash-wise, 27% of the tickets and 80% of the cash is on Northern Kentucky. So you have 73%, and now it's a small sample size of 1,614 tickets, but 73% of the tickets are on Cincinnati and only 20% of the cash. Public all over Cincinnati, the market not moving, and the bigger bets coming in on Northern Kentucky. And then spread-wise, 58% of tickets and 93% of the cash on the under, but no movement there. Cincinnati comes in off an 87-69 win at home over Eastern Kentucky on Sunday, a weak Eastern Kentucky squad. And then after losing badly to Kent State to open the season, the Norse beat up on Division II Cincinnati Claremont Cougars 89-49 on Saturday. And sometimes stomping on a Div 2 team just to get some confidence and see the ball go through the bucket might help the Norse here. Clearly, the line's not moving and the public's on Cincinnati. Take it away for us, Daby Cab, Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky.
It's crazy how you say you haven't gone too deep into these, and these you already. I've already bet this game, and you already just scared the shit out of me. But college basketball and college football are a little different than other things when it comes to the money sometimes. Cincinnati right here, they're led by David DeJulius. He's averaging 21.3 points, followed by Landers Noli, 16.3. On the flip side, Northern Kentucky, they're led by Marquise Warwick. He's averaging 16 points a game. And I think I see why people are on. If you look at the trends here in this game, Cincinnati, they're only 1-4 against the spread last 5 road games, 5-11 against the spread last 16 overall. Northern Kentucky is 16-15 against the spread their last 21. So Northern Kentucky's been covering spreads. The lines and the trends and everything goes with Northern Kentucky. But like you said, and yes, smashing on a Division II team is good sometimes to get going. But their only Division I competition this year looked bad. They did not look ready. They did not look up to par. Cincinnati is a physical team on defense in particular, and I just don't see Northern Kentucky being able to keep up with that physicality. I took Cincinnati in this game, but I took them in the first half -3. Cincinnati's a little bit like Michigan, where I don't feel comfortable laying. Now 6.5 is about where I'd put this game at. I don't feel comfortable getting up on the higher spreads with these two teams because, what I'm talking about with Cincinnati being physical on defense, but being up by a couple baskets early, I definitely think Cincinnati can do. So I got Cincinnati in the first half here, -3.
All right, I will line shop for you here. Huh. It's too bad this isn't Brandon coming back to face Northern Kentucky. Give Northern Kentucky a little more emphasis here. Okay, let's line shop for you. I feel like it's just another buy low opportunity, and with the public, the public going to be smashing Cincinnati after what we saw from Northern Kentucky in that first game against Kent State. Makes me want to back Kent State here. Let's go to the first half and see what we can get. Daby Cab on Cincinnati -3.5 and -109. So
okay,
Cab
3.5. Right, cool.
Opening up his account here with Cincinnati, first half -3.5 and -109. And I'm going to be on the Norse full game at +6.5. All right. Nathan Stern says Bearcats baby feels dangerous, may stay off at this point. And let's keep rolling. Okay, we are in business. By the way, Nate Stern is buying 2 points for Pitt +10.5. I don't like ever increasing the VIG. It's the VIG that's always going to get us. But we are 2 games in, and I got a couple dogs. Let's move on to the next spot on the board. This one's going to be a beauty. 7:30 p.m. Eastern, Iowa Hawkeyes at Seton Hall Pirates. We're at the Prudential Center in Newark, New Jersey. And both teams starting out 2-0 to begin the year. Iowa, Seton Hall. Let's take a look at the line history here. We have Iowa opening up as 1-point road favorites. They're now 1-point dogs. So they've flipped from favorite to dog. From a totals perspective, it opened up at 148.5 and is now at 151. Let's see what we have here. We have 3,215 tickets in, and 36% of the tickets, 52% of the cash is on Iowa. Surprising that they flipped it as favorite to dog. And then it's a complete coin flip on the total of 51% of tickets and 50% of cash on the under. Take it away. Iowa opened the season with 2 easy home victories. They defeated Bethune-Cookman 89-58, then took out North Carolina A&T on Friday. Seton Hall's also opened with 2 easy home victories. They beat Monmouth 79-52 before destroying St. Peter's 80-44 on Saturday. Hawkeyes, Pirates. Daby Cab, take it away.
This is a game of opposites, right? You've got Iowa's offense going against Seton Hall's defense. Iowa features that up-tempo offense. It's going to be one of the best in the nation again, while Seton Hall, they have an extremely athletic defense that should also be one of the best in the country. So this is a strength against strength right here. McCaffrey, coach for Iowa, he's always had these high-performance offenses, and they don't turn the ball over. That's one of my favorite things about Iowa is how they don't turn the ball over. They're going to be led by Chris Murray, who dropped 22 points, shooting 7 for 11 last game. Great player coming back this season. Expect high things from him. While Seton Hall's defense, they've only given up a combined 96 points in their first 2 games. I know they weren't against good competition. Like I said, only giving up 96 points in those first two games. Their coach Holloway is a former Seton Hall player, by the way. So he's building a squad there. He's invested in the program. He has 4 6'6" guards. I'll say it again: 4 6'6" guards and 4 forwards between 6'7" and 6'10". This team is big and loaded. This is a tough cap for me. I haven't bet it, but if I had to, I would take defense at home. I would go with Seton Hall. But this is the definition of a coin flip, in my opinion, Jim, because we don't look. I mean, you got one of the best offenses going against one of the best defenses. So basically, my cap comes down to I'd roll with defense if I had to.
Yeah, that makes sense. And it feels like the market is confused too. I mean, you have some bigger bets coming in on Iowa who've gone from, favorite to dog. It's tricky. It's a very, very tough one. I can understand staying off of it. Yeah. Okay. This is one stuff, and we got a ton of games here on the card. So let's just keep rolling. That was Iowa, Seton Hall, and feels like the chat finding it difficult as well. Mal saying Seton Hall is the play, but can they score enough? Is the question.
Yep.
All right. Nate Cernan says, I like Iowa early, but could see a surge from Seton Hall in the second half. Generally, when defense starts taking over in the second half. I like it. Let's keep rolling. Daby Cab here on Wednesday to cap NCAA basketball with us, and he'll be back tomorrow as well. South Dakota State Jackrabbits next up, 2-1, 1-1 on the road at the number 9 ranked Arkansas Razorbacks, 2-0. We're at Bud Walton Arena for this one in Fayetteville. Let's take a look at the line history. We have South Dakota State opening up at plus 14. They're now plus 15.5. So a 1.5 point move towards the favorite. Then from a totals perspective, it opened up at 152.5, now at 153.5. Let's move over to the line history here. We have 2,471 tickets in. 33% of tickets, 47% of cash on South Dakota State, but it's moved a 1.5 towards Arkansas. So the books are just opening their arms, asking for more South Dakota State cash. 66% of tickets, 67% of cash on the over, and we've seen it go up a point. So it makes some sense there. After opening the season with an 81-80 overtime loss at Akron, the Jackrabbits won 68-60 at Boise State before squeaking by St. Bonaventure 66-62 last night. So they're on the second half of a back-to-back here, but they've already proven that they can play in tight basketball games and play well. This one might not be tight, though. Arkansas opened the season with a 76-58 win at home over North Dakota State before beating up on Fordham 74-48 on Friday at home. This is a very dangerous Razorback squad. And look, some bigger bets coming in on South Dakota State, but the market moving a 1.5 towards the Razorbacks. Take it away for us, Daby Cab, Jackrabbits, Razorbacks.
Shout out to our guy, Leonard, in there in the chat. He hit it. He said absolutely horrible travel spot for South Dakota. Now, I do have other games bet. This isn't one of them, but I really want to take Arkansas here. It's just a lot of points. You look at Arkansas, and this is one of the teams that I'm very high on this year, Jimmy. Very high on this Arkansas team. I think that they're one of the teams that haven't gotten a lot of love. Per KenPom ranks, they're 5th in adjusted defense and 33rd in adjusted offense, which is going to be tough on a Jackrabbits team who ranks 162 in adjusted defense. Okay, so that's where this line comes from. But on the only reason I'm not on this right now is because South Dakota, like you said, they're 2-1, but out of schedules that everybody's played, they've played a tough schedule. They played a Boise State team who I think should be better this year, that I was shocked that they were able to take care of. St. Bonaventure, who's down this year, but they still won the game. And then an Akron game that they could have won easily. We all saw the missed layup at the end of the game. I mean, it was right there for them. So all this, like I said, for me, this lines up. It's a bad travel spot. I think Arkansas is just going to be too much for them. The reason I'm off this is because Arkansas is 319th in 3-point percentage, and that's something we all know the Jackrabbits can do. I think Arkansas is the better team who wins, but I'm not ready to lay 15 in this spot.
Yeah, early season back-to-back. This is tricky. Clearly, the books are very comfortable taking South Dakota State cash right now as it's moved to 15.5.
I mean, that's such a number right there. You got to imagine, like, they knew that they were going to take cash at that number. This sets up horrible for a South Dakota State team who is good, and they've shown us that they're good. They're up and coming, but Arkansas is really good. There's a difference. These two teams are on a different level.
Our guy Julian Cesario in the house says Arkansas all day, took them at minus 14 last night.
There's nothing wrong with that. Yeah. I was so close to still am. I mean, I can still bet it. I've been so close to Arkansas. Maybe, I don't know, but 15 is a large number.
Stimmy OG on Arkansas minus 15, South Dakota State team total under 68.5. Nate Cern is on the first half Razorbacks. I would think, Nate, that you'd want full game in a bet like this just because we talked about the travel situation for South Dakota State and, second half of a back-to-back. So maybe their legs get tired in the second half.
Mm-hmm.
But, I guess this is an Arkansas move. I guess we just move on Arkansas. The Jackrabbits have been playing teams tight and tough. I know that Arkansas is a much higher level than the Bonnies or Boise State, but Okay, no look for me. What do you think of Stimmy OG? He's doubling up on Arkansas -15 and the South Dakota team total under 68.5. I don't get the 68.5. If I wanted to bet that, I would get 67.5. I can use alternate team totals, but that's 67.5 for South Dakota State's -140 to the over. What do you think of him trying to pinpoint the team total for the Jackrabbits?
I like that. Like I said, this like per KenPom ranking, 5th in adjusted defense for this Arkansas team. This Arkansas team plays aggressive. They're going to be hitting the boards aggressive. Their defense is going to be aggressive. They're going to close out aggressively on this South Dakota State team. South Dakota State's going to try and push the tempo, and Arkansas is going to be right there with them. And that's the thing here. So I like it.
Ooh, okay, no moves for Cab or myself at this point. Nate's certainly giving us a final score of 90-70. God, I wonder if I'm leaving money on the table, not backing Arkansas here. Let's just take.
I've been asking myself that question for a minute, Jimmy. So I understand.
32% of the tickets, 47% cash on South Dakota State, and the market moving towards Arkansas. Okay, no move for us at this point, but we'll review everything once more. Let's move on. 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Excuse me. VCU Rams 2-0 on the season versus the Arizona State Sun Devils. This is also at Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York. Is that right? Barclays, Arizona State going over all the way to Barclays. Let's take a look at the line history here for this one. Pull this up here. Where are you, VCU? Sorry, here we go. Wow. Okay, so we have Virginia Commonwealth here opening up as 1.5-point favorites. They're now 4.5-point favorites. A huge move towards VCU. From a total perspective, it opened up at 135.5 and is now 134. Let's take a look at the cash flow and see if it all follows suit with that idea that Arizona State is just a complete fade. Here we go. 2,194 tickets in. Listen to this. 76% of the tickets and 94% of the cash on VCU, and the market clearly concerned, moving at 3 full points towards VCU. You have 93% of the tickets on the under. We don't have a cash amount on the under at this point. VCU opened the season with a 73-56 win at home over Manhattan before defeating Morgan State 69-54 at home as 20-point favorites. Did not cover. And they were up just 28-27 at halftime. Arizona State comes in off having their season opening 2-game winning streak snapped in a 67-66 overtime loss at Texas Southern as 12-point favorites. It was ugly. Take it away for us here, Cab. VCU, Arizona State.
Okay, looking at the Rams, VCU, they're averaging 71 points per game. They're shooting about 46.1%. They're led by Brandon Johns Jr. He's averaging 14 points a game, followed by Baldwin Jr., who's averaging 12 points. Arizona State on the flip side, 70.1 a game, shooting 39.5%, not good. They're led by Frankie Collins, who's averaging 16.3, followed by Horn, averaging 14. Both of these teams right here, the Rams, they're 1-5 against the spread, last six overall, where the Sun Devils are 0-3-1, last 4 overall. So it's kind of a pick your poison. Neither of them are covering for people right now. I would have to lay it with VCU here. There's a reason why so many people are on them. Arizona State flat out can't shoot. They cannot shoot the basketball. The Rams have a good defense, and defense travels well. When I first capped this, it was -2.5 for VCU, and I like that. Get at 4, it's getting up there, but there's a reason why people are going against this Arizona State team. They're a fade. I'm going to have to decide what I'm going to pull on, Jimmy, when we recap these, because right now I think with what you just told me and where the line's at right now, I'm going to, for show purposes, I'm going to stay off. I'm not getting this ass end of a line this bad for the show purposes, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. I don't want to either, which then moves us to, if we think Arizona State traveling to Barclays Center after losing to Texas Southern as 12-point favorites, putting up 66 points in, with 5 extra minutes of overtime, going up against a VCU team that struggles at the line but can play good defense, holding Manhattan to 56 points, Morgan State to 54 points. I know they're no juggernauts, but maybe it's the under that is the move to make here. We don't have a cash flow, but we know that the tickets are flying in on the under, and this is gone.
I do like that. I like the under here.
Yeah, just call out Arizona State's poor shooting. I think that makes sense. All right, let's. I think that will be my move. It looks like that makes a ton of sense. Mal says we missed VCU. Could have got at -1. I saw -1.5 opener, but the under for me seems of like a viable option if we're saying Arizona State is not only bad, but they're traveling across the country, and then VCU can play D. All right. There we go. VCU says holding teams under 60. I mean, remember, those teams are Manhattan and Morgan State, but they are doing it. All right. I'm in business right now. I'm in business. Let's roll on. Luce Fox says VCU all day, says he's doing it for the Commonwealth. That's what he's doing it for.
I love that comment.
All right. Let's move on. We have 3 games left that we are talking about with Daby Cab, and he's going to be joining us again tomorrow. 9 p.m. Eastern. Missouri State Bears 1-0 on the year at the BYU Cougars 1-1. We're at the Marriott Center in Provo, Utah. Let's see what the line history is for this one. We remember last year, our guy Deacon Mike was betting the Missouri State team total overs all year. And he was cashing them. And I got on late, but I cashed on them as well. Going up against BYU. BYU opening up as 9-point favorites. They're now 9.5-point favorites. His total opened up at 147.5. It dropped all the way down to 145.5 this morning at 9:30. It's back at 147. Let's go to the cash flow in this one. Pull it up here. Here we go. Just 907 tickets in, not a lot of help. 57% of tickets, 75% of the cash on Missouri State, but it's moved a half point towards BYU. And then you have 61% of tickets, 77% of cash on the over. And that total dropped down to 145.5 and then came back up to 147. Missouri State opened with an easy 82-47 win over Missouri Science and Tech. So, who cares? Who cares? But they can score. They can score. We know they can score. BYU comes in off an 82-75 loss at San Diego State. On Friday's 10.5-point dogs. We know how dangerous San Diego State is going to be this year, and BYU did cover. Take it away for us, Daby Cab, Missouri State Bears, BYU Cougars.
Again, another tough one here. For me, the reason this one's tough is because of the fact that Missouri State's first game was against that D2 Tech school. So we don't know what to go off. They were led in scoring in that game by more. But again, this Missouri State team, they're only returning 2 starters. Okay, so they're only returning 2 people that even played for them last year. I mean, hell, they only 2 starters, but really they're the only 2 that really got much time for them at all. So we just don't know, and we don't have anything to go off of, and that's what's hard for me. BYU started the season with the 60-56 win over Idaho State in a game that they were favored by 23.5 points. So winning by 4 points in a game you're favored by 23.5 is not a good win. But you touched on it. They did cover the next game, even though they lost. It's just really hard for me to get a read on this game because of the fact that Missouri State only has 2 returning players and they haven't played anybody yet. BYU is a better team this year than they were last year. I think that first performance that I was just alluding to, I think that was kind of an outlier. I don't think they're that bad. I lean BYU here, even with the spread, but I'm off this game just because I don't know what to expect from Missouri State yet.
That makes sense. Yeah, not enough information on Missouri State, a team that was capable of offense last year, but as you say, returning 2 starters. I get it. No, I'm not a fan of the Nuggets, but I do have a Carmelo Anthony jersey and in this hat. Missouri State Bears, BYU Cougars, no action for us here. And I wouldn't mind just taking one last look at this total once more. Sorry, the total opening up at 147.5, dropped to 145.5, back to 147. We imagine that Missouri State's going to be able to score, and BYU put up 75 points at San Diego State, which is going to be much tougher defensively. But I guess we just don't know enough about this team. And it'd be stupid for me just to have a vividness bias of last year. T-Max says BYU beat Missouri last year by 6. I mean, Missouri's much worse this year, and Missouri was at home. So, okay, I get it. Let's move past it. Happy we got to touch on Missouri State because they were very good to us, and Deacon Mike led us to cash. Let's move on to 9:30 p.m. Eastern, the big one. Number 2 ranked Gonzaga Bulldogs, 2-0 on the year. At the number 11 Texas Longhorns, we're at the Moody Center in Austin, Texas. This is a big one. Daby, I know that you watched that very tight 64-63 win over Michigan State on Friday. That was your live betting game. That must have been great fun. Texas comes in off an easy 82-31 home beatdown of Houston Christian. They were 37-point favorites, and Houston Christian is D1 school, shockingly. Let's move over to the line history here. This is the big one. Gonzaga, Texas. Gonzaga opening up as 1.5-point dogs. They're now 2-point dogs. From a total perspective, they opened up at 144. It's now 144.5. Let's take a look at the cash flow on this one because there should be bets here on it. We have 7,149 tickets in, by far the most. 46% of the tickets, 70% of cash on Texas. Then 56% of tickets, 88% of the cash on the over, and the lines market's not moving towards the over. Interesting. I wonder if they're taking too much off of Gonzaga's difficulty with Michigan State on a USS Carrier. Let's hear what Daby has to say. This is perfect because you watched that entire Gonzaga game. Take it away. Bulldogs, Longhorns.
Well, and we have something else to go off of for that game too. I know I said it myself, and I might be eating my words that Michigan State is not as good as they've been in the past, but they're still a well-coached team. Well, look at what Michigan State did last night. They beat Kentucky. Okay. Michigan State took down Kentucky last night. They were up by double digits on Gonzaga. Maybe this Michigan State team is a lot better than I thought they were and a lot better than other people thought they were. And maybe Gonzaga has a really good win over a good Michigan State team where they were down by 10 points and they came back in it. And that has been kind of pushing me. I have another bet on the last game we're going to talk about, but I am very close to pulling the trigger on the Gonzaga money line here. I know Gonzaga is not as good as they were last year. I know Timmy doesn't have the support around him. Last game, he was 9-13, dropped 22 points. Without Holmgren, it shows, okay? What's really lacking for Gonzaga is their pick and roll defense. That's where they were weak, and that's where I think Tom Izzo did such a good job, where you had such a good coach who was able to exploit a new weakness of a team. So I think Michigan State had a great game plan, and I'm sure Texas has looked at it also, but this is a Texas team that is also better than last year. They did good in the transfer portal, but they did really good in recruiting. They brought in the 5-star freshman, Dylan Mitchell, and Arterio Morris. Texas is number 1 to start the season in adjusted defense efficiency. This is a very good defensive team, and they're at home. I understand why 70% of the money is on Texas. I still lean Gonzaga here. I think Gonzaga is still one of the top teams in the country, even with losing Holmgren. And I think that we're seeing that Michigan State win we're quickly seeing that was a much better win than we thought it was.
Do you think the fact that Texas opened their season with UTEP and didn't look that good? They won 72-57. I mean, they were in control, but they were 21.5-point favorites. Didn't cover. And then they play a very weak Houston Christian team. Do you think the fact that Gonzaga just went up against Michigan State, that at least in the first 20 minutes, Gonzaga will be battle tested and ready to play in a very tough Moody Center? Do you think that's a first half look on them?
I do, and I like that. And I also like the first half because if somehow it ends tied, you win. You don't go into overtime and have to sweat another overtime. So yeah, I do like that first half. And you know what? I'll ride that Gonzaga first half. I'll take that right there with you. If you're taking it, even if you're not taking it, I'll take it. I'll be on Gonzaga first half here.
Let's take a look at what we're going to be offered for them first half, whether we want to take it. Let's see what we have. Sorry, here we go. This is the big one. So do we want the +1?
Yep.
Or do we want the money line? Let's see what kind of vig they take off on the money line if we back Gonzaga first half. I love the angle of a team playing against a very good basketball team and Texas coming off weak competition. Sure, if Texas is as good as some people think, they can take over in the second half of the game, especially at home riding the fans. But would you rather have +1 or would you rather have +114 on the money line?
I'd rather take the +1 the +1, because if we're talking now, I get that you said it earlier, the VIG's what kills us over time. But also at the same time, and this is kind of just going with my first five when I would bet first fives in baseball, it's like that half a run, that 1 point, whatever it is, that half a point, if you're talking football, that point is so important. It's the whole reason why the first half, in my opinion, is such a good bet, because at a tie we still win.
I think this bet makes sense purely from the fact that Gonzaga was just tested in a mighty, mighty way in a non-traditional setting, coming off a Texas team that just destroyed a real minnow.
I want to touch on this too, Jimmy. In that game on the ship, there was wind. If you looked at the flags were blowing. There was wind. Gonzaga looked like they were. I've said this a couple times now. They look like that Along Came Polly movie where the guy's like, "Make it rain," and he like is throwing it off the backboard, and it's terrible. Gonzaga, they couldn't shoot, and I wasn't there, so it's hard for me to say blaming it on the wind. But like, I'm pretty sure that they were not able to take shots outside because of the fact that they were outside on that ship.
I like the angle. This could be one of those situations where it's Gonzaga first half, Texas full game. Obviously, we're going to learn a ton by watching these two teams play. I like it. Cab is on Gonzaga first half +1 at -105, and I will decide when the. Let me just quickly see. I can look right now. I'm getting offered +110 or +1. Yeah, I'll decide how much that's worth here. But Daby Cab is in. We move on to our final game on today's show and the final game of our NCAA basketball breakdown. Our guy Fap Win has been running real nice in college basketball. He comes to us from Australia, and he gives us his best bet. And his best bet today is the San Francisco Dons, who are 3-0 this year. This is their first road test at the Fresno State Bulldogs 101. We're at the Save Mart Center in Fresno, California. Let's take a look at the line history here. This is the late night game for us all. This will pop off at the same time as the Warriors game, so we're going to have a lot of late night action here. San Francisco opening up at +1 at -113. They're now +1 at -107. They did get up to +1.5. From a totals perspective, it opened up at 136.5 and has dropped 2 points to 134.5. Let's take a look at the cash flow for this one. This is the lone game where Sports Insights is giving a real legit line value. They're giving about 65% line value to the San Francisco Dons. 1,992 tickets in, 59% of the tickets, 73% of the cash on San Francisco. Then you have 72% of tickets, 97% of cash on the under, and it's dropping. Taint play of the day is also the Dons, San Francisco +1.5. Mally Mouse says Fresno had one good player last season. He said, did they improve? By the way, Luce's best bet for me tonight, Oakland versus Toledo under 157. And he likes the San Francisco look as well. All right, let's take a look here. San Francisco comes off a much tougher than expected 88-71 win at home over Div 2 California Merced Bobcats. I mean, obviously, they must have taken them lightly. Fresno State comes in off a 61-54 loss at UC Santa Barbara as 3-point dogs in Santa Cruz last Friday. So it was in Santa Cruz. There was 200 people at the game. And so it was a very strange spot, that the very low-scoring affair that felt like some sort of a practice rather than a game. Now they come home for this one. So there's a lot of moving parts here. Let's hear what Daby Cab has to say. Take it away for us, Dons Bulldogs.
I love the line value. I love that Matty Ice is on the Dons. I love Nunez on the Dons. I'm on the Dons also here. They're going for their third win, their third straight win over Fresno. I'm going to slaughter this, okay? Their big man, Markovatsky, okay? Vladimir Markovatsky. He's good, okay? Also led by their senior guard, Shabazz. He leads the way for him, and he does such a good job facilitating the ball. Last game, Fresno had 16 turnovers against UC Santa Barbara, going 4 for 12 from deep, okay? Just terrible. Now, they do have a good senior guard that's leading the way, Isaiah Hill. But the Bulldogs, they struggle on offense, and Ken Palm has their offense as 111th in the nation right now. 111th against a San Francisco team that I think is underrated, that I think is bet on. They were bet on for me last year also. San Fran has the better offenses. There's no question. Both of these teams have a good defense, and San Francisco has the better offense. San Fran is 6-1 their last 7 road trips against the spread. On the flip side, Fresno has dropped 5 out of its last 7 anywhere. They've lost 5 of their last 7. So yeah, give me the Dons here as the road team. I'll take them on the money line. I like San Francisco here.
Fuck. Andrew G, by the way, say the Rockets are down to 5 now. I knew it when we were talking about it. I was like, just bet it right now during the show. And fuck. Oh, Andrew, that makes so much sense after all of our fuck. Are you uncomfortable with Todd Golden leaving? Now Chris Gerlofson, the coach here. Do you feel like maybe with Golden gone that we can't trust this Don's offense like we did last year?
For now, I'm going to. And really, this comes down to more for me, too. It's just, like I said, Fresno with the 16 turnovers against Santa Barbara, this Don's defense is still going to play good. Even if their offense takes a turn down, they're still better than Fresno State's offense.
Yeah, I hear you. Look, we got heavy hitters on this as well. Taint play of the day also on the Dons. Shout out to our guy, Matty Ice. Taint is in, and it's the Dons. The Dons, and you want them full game as well, Debbie?
Yes. Give it to me. Let's get it. That'll be my third one, and I'll be good there. I'm not going to add to those 3.
All right. Well, let's lock in here for you in this one. San Francisco, Fresno State. Oh, shit. Sorry, that's the wrong thing. Let's take a look at first halves. Let's move to full games. Line shop for our guy, Daby Cab. You are getting a +1 at -107, or you are getting a oh no, that's not a book we use. -102. Would you rather +1 at -107 or -102 money line?
I'll take the money line.
All right, Cab is in. He's on San Fran -1 at -102. This is a big game for Gerlofson as a coach here. Big game. I'm interested. I find myself interested right away. San Francisco Dons rolling with you guys. I think I will roll for a late night special with you guys. I like it. We are locked in. Let's review all action here. I can't say interested right away without thinking of the Kevin Nealon joke, and I apologize for the people I've told over and over again. But my God, it's a good joke. It's a good joke, and I got to hang out with the man. He's a great guy, and his joke is simply he does a movie review for Playboy. He's not interested in doing it. He puts the movie in, and he finds himself interested right away.
There you go. It's a good joke.
Yeah, he finds himself more interested, so interested, and then suddenly no interest whatsoever.
Okay.
But I'll stop there. It goes on.
Oh,
Okay.
there's more than that. It comes back for a second round. Okay.
Okay, let's review action. I am on the lowly Pittsburgh Panthers +8.5. Cab is on Cincinnati first half -3.5. I'm on the mighty Norse full game +6.5. Iowa, Seton Hall, we stayed off. South Dakota, Arkansas, we stayed off. I'm moving on the under 134 in VCU, Arizona State. But maybe I should just take Arizona State team total under. Now that I talk about it, I'm going to study that and decide then. Missouri State, BYU, we stayed off. Cab is on the Gonzaga Bulldogs first half +1 at -105. I'm coming with them. Then he's on San Fran Dons -1 at -102, and I am joining as well. We do have a question from the chat, and it's about a team I know you know very well. That's why I'll drop it on you before we close. Luchase Fox saying Texas Southern getting 32 points against Houston. He says, I think it's too much. What do you think, Cab?
I guess this is a simple answer. This will tell you what I think. I'm 3-0 betting Houston this year already. and I'm not betting them today. I'm not going against them, but I'm not betting them today. I think they finally got me. I've been taking Houston first half. Today it's sitting at minus 16, and I'm just like, shit, that's it. That's there. So, yeah, I think it might just be too much. But I'm damn sure not going against Houston. In my opinion, Houston's the best team in the country.
There you have it. There you have it. And Daby Cab will be back in action with us again tomorrow, where we will pick out a bunch of games and break down another slate of action. But you get to catch Daby Cab again. Ross Pitts wants to know about the Notre Dame game. He's pissed off. Well, Ross Pitts, just join our NCAA show at 5 p.m. and they will talk about that South Indiana Notre Dame game for you. Daby Cab opening his college basketball account here on the show, and we'll be doing it again tomorrow. Cab, great to work with you. Excellent job. Looking forward to have this slate of games tonight and have you back in action again tomorrow, my man. Follow our man Cab on Twitter as well, at Daby Cab. Any last words for the Cappers supporting the show?
Oh, man. Like our guy C-Max says, the best goddamn chat in the game. You guys out there in the chat, man, you're the reason why Jimmy and I get up here. So thank you guys in the chat. We love you guys, man. And Jimmy, I love you. Thanks for having me, man. And let's get this money tonight and then get back here tomorrow.
I love it. I love working with you. There he is, Daby Cab in the house, and he'll be joining us again tomorrow. We'll also have a DJ Big Boss again tomorrow. We're going to have Mr. Gokster, who's now swept the board and back-to-back Thursday nighters, 3-0. I've also moved on 2 bets already on the Thursday nighter, so I'm very excited. I moved on the over and the Packers, so I'm ready to fucking go in that game. All right, let's review all action. All action here. We have Sabres, Senators. I'm going to move on the first period. Piker says he's got severe third-degree burns on his lower back from an ice pack. He says his back looks like Jay Leno's face. Right. So sexy. And Luce says, best team in the country, I will not fade, but I think Texas Southern probably covers the full game. All right, that is Sabres first period. I've got lots of NHL action. Then I'm going to be on the under 6 in St. Louis. Chicago Bennington is being confirmed. I'm going to be on the under 7 in Kings Oilers and the Kings plus 125. We have LJ on Miles Turner over 2.5 blocks. I'm moving on the Hornets minus 2.5. LJ's on the Timberwolves first quarter minus 2. Cat over 21.5 points and the over 8.5 rebounds for Cat, Anthony Towns. I'm off that spot. I'm going to move on the Thunder first quarter. LJ's on the Celtics first half minus 1 and minus 110. I was going to join him, but with Smart and Brogdon out, I'm not. But he's on Tatum points, rebounds, and assists over 42.5. I imagine that's going to be probably go up now that he's going to have to do everything. And he's on Capella over 11.5 rebounds. Heat, Raptors, we stayed off. Cavs, Bucks, we stayed off. I'm on the Bulls first quarter plus 1. And as we imagined, Luka is out tonight. LJ got the Rockets plus 9. I could have got it too. I should have just stopped and bet. And Rocco says, looking like Cal's in net for the Kings. I'd prefer that. Skinner for Edmonton. I'd prefer that. That would be my preference. I don't trust Johnny Quick right now. Look, Peterson's not been good, but I know what Quick's going to give you, and I don't know what Peterson's going to give you. So I guess that's the difference. Quick is going to be below average, and Peterson has a chance to get the job if he wants it. So the Luka bet is voided for LJ, but he is on Green over 21.5 points, minus 106. Knicks first half plus 2 at minus 108 for LJ's on Randall over 21.5 points. Then the Warriors first half in full game for LJ. I'm joining him, and he's on Draymond Green over 6.5 assists at minus 129. In college football, Boss is on the under 60.5 in Eastern Michigan, Kent State. I'm on Eastern Michigan, team total under 24.5. Then Boss is on NIU Huskies minus 1, minus 106, and the under 45, minus 115. I'm off of that game. But I am on Western Michigan first half plus 6.5. Boss is on the full game plus 10.5. Then we already broke down our college basketball action. There you have it. Another show in the books. We have huge guests all week. So tomorrow, Gokster for NHL and NFL, Big Boss for NCAA football, Daby Cab for NCAA basketball. On Friday, we have Bobano for the Grey Cup, NHL, NCAA football, NCAA basketball, and then Dutch Boy Fresh closes that show off for NBA. For those of you guys looking at what time, I'm going to try to get Dutch on every Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. That'll be the time for Dutch. And there we go. Rocco Rogers also saying that Wendell Clark won't play. Wendell Clark. Jeez, what's wrong? Wendell Carter Jr. won't play. Didn't practice today. Speaking of jokes, I did have a few beers with Wendell Clark at the Wendell Clark Sports Bar. It used to be tied to the Yuck Yucks in Vaughan. And I got him. I did tell him a joke. I do have one hockey joke, and it's when the Queen Elizabeth II, she came to Vancouver for a hockey game, and the play-by-play guy, he was like, Wayne Gretzky will be inside the Queen's box tonight. And I told that joke to Wendell Clark, and he gave me a good laugh, a good chuckle at the Queen's box jokes. All right, that is it for us. Piker says Wendell Clark, king of the hip check. Sharon, my man, the show's in the books. 3 hours in the books. Thank you, guys. We truly have nothing without you. Thank you for your support. It means a ton. Andrew G, Sharon, Piker, Nunya. And Nunya's on Valpo, Chicago State over 137.5. Cleveland State game over 138. San Francisco money line all together. 3 all together at plus 596. I love it. Nunya, go get it. Mike M, Rocco, Piker. Know something. Mally Mal, Luchase Fox, Nate Cerna, Julian Cesario. And Julian Cesario has already moved on Houston Final Four future locked. Be curious about that. There's a couple of futures that I wouldn't mind getting involved with. One is I'm interested. I'll go in with Houston to get that deep, but maybe I should wait until, it's probably best to wait until the attorney's set up for us. But the next thing is that our very own Flash gave us Argentina to reach the semis as his best bet in the World Cup, and I'm interested. Ross Pitts, T-Mac, Andrew G, Cheshire Cat, Matty Ice, Eric Swiatek says, I'll be the only Huckleberry on Fresno, I guess. That's a spot there where you succeed always, Swiatek, being up against the public. Let's take a look again at that. It does feel like a lot of us are making a move on San Francisco. Thank you, guys. Spenny Penny Bombs. Thank you, guys. Go out there and get that cash tonight. Let's go out there and get that fucking money. And truly, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for supporting the show. I love the opportunity to cap with you guys every day, and I don't take the opportunity lightly. I know how lucky I am. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. But now, let's go get the fucking money. Shout out to our producer doing a great job, Jose Bouquet, who's not been on the show enough. Hopefully makes an appearance tomorrow. We need a Jose Bouquet say, hey, play today. But in the meantime, maybe he should Bedlam. Maybe he should cap Bedlam for us tomorrow. Maybe that. Okay, we'll add that. We'll add that in for our guy DJ Big Plus. Let's go out and milk these motherfucking booties. Leche, hey, los bookmakers.